live. Hello,
Dun, dun,
we're
dun.
live. What's up, everybody? We are back again for another Sunday Paradigm stream. Hopefully, yep, everything's working. Audio's up. Make sure we got an at 20. Yep, that's working. Critical success. So, I'm glad everyone could join us again for another session of the D&D. Thank you very much to all those that come and joined us on Wednesday night for the Curse of Strahd Session 0. It went exceptionally well. We had great fun doing it. There was some awesome roleplay by the characters, and we had a lot of fun. And we're going to have some more fun tonight as our champions have arrived in the frozen norths of Paradigm. So I don't think we have any further announcements thus far. Obviously, go check out the YouTube, check out the Twitter, make sure you're following, do the subbing and all that sort of stuff as well. All the VODs from tonight's show and the Curse of Strahd show all make it to YouTube eventually. Both latest two VODs are up there now. Go check those out at your leisure. How you doing, Blue Jay? That annoying Fibblestib. Why is Fibblestib annoying? Fibblestib was awesome. I like that character. That character's gonna be fun in the Strahd. Blue Jay with a tier 1 sub. Thank you very much for the resub. Appreciate it. So I guess without any further ado, we should go turn over to our DM for the evening. To give him a close-up, pretty face. For some reason the camera has moved. There it is. Right, ladies and germs, we shall get into our recap. So, when we last left our heroes, you guys had reached Gatton after discovering the town had been under siege by demons of some description. Fiala shapeshifts into a dire wolf and is given some personal effects of some of the townsfolk that had gone missing as a way of tracking them. After what seemed to be maybe an hour and a half, possibly 2 hours of tracking the scent, you come to a small clearing. You see a familiar figure clad in dark armor who then raises the dead of the town. Stepping through the portal, this dark paladin, who you can only assume is either potentially Neymaris, but can't be, she's dead, or another entity of some description that Kosis/Asmodeus has turned, possibly. Bit of confusion there as to who that may have been. Steps through the portal, taking the townsfolk with her. Leaving in its place a large blue bug-like creature emanating an icy aura, along with a red-skinned humanoid and 3 smaller red demonoid-type creatures. During the battle that ensued, Fiala is affected by some form of charm spell for a time, and then an ice wall is cast and separates the group. A bit of backwards and forth, Alessandros clambering on the tri-rock to get a better view, making some attacks. Anari trying to do the same, doesn't quite succeed and ends up prone in the dirt next to this creature, who decides to wail on her, sending her to unconsciousness. Eventually, Sadiq's skill with the undead and fiends dispatches the smaller creatures, and after some quick discussion, Het uses the iron flask and manages to capture the ice demon, and your attention then falls to the humanoid creature, and after a time he flees through a portal and vanishes. You then return to Gatton to rest, allowing Anari to recover fully from her encounter with death, and then you finally do set out towards the north. And we rejoin the lions as they reach the snowy foothills of the Falcon Hills to the north of Paradigm, and episode 48 of our story. So, as you arrive sort of to the base of this mountain, you look forward to the north. The green grasslands and forests start to give way to the browns of dead grass that has been covered in snow, to then the white snow-covered lands of the mountainscape. As you look over the area you're approaching, you see the jagged peaks and icy hills of this area. There are many narrow paths made by animals, but there seems to be only one real discernible man-made path that sort of leads into the mountain itself. You have to leave your horses here as the snow is deep, and the path is narrow and the horses will not fit. What are we doing, guys? Over to you.
I hope everyone has their...
You go.
I hope everyone has their cold winter gear on.
I would assume that you all dismount your horses and don the attire that has been presented to you, the fur-lined capes and hoods. You would have had snowshoes, gloves. For those that needed to swap out your boots, there were fur-lined boots and that available as well. Fiala, you still have your little tiara on, which is keeping you quite warm. You find that even without the boots or the gloves, you seem to remain rather warm. It's quite a cool feeling to be standing out in this sort of snowy, cold area without too much winter woolies on and still feel quite warm. So it's up to you whether you still put the cape and everything on, but you are quite warm without it.
Yeah, I might just be without it. Save some face.
So Fiala stands on the edge of the snow, and in her scantily sort of scant-looking armor. The rest of you looking at her feeling quite cold just by looking at it, but she's quite warm. The rest of you rug up with your winter woolies. You probably don't need the snowshoes at this point, but you will have to have them available because you would probably know. I mean, most of you probably know that when that snow gets deep enough, you're going to need the snowshoes to be able to make reasonable time.
It digs his bare claws into the snow and likes the feeling.
And it is a very comfortable feeling to you, the icy coldness of the snow crunching under your hands, and you pick it up and sort of run it through your fingers, let it fall through your fingers, and yeah, it's been a while since you've been anywhere there has been snow or even been this cold, so it is rather comforting to you. And Ari, you have spent a bit of time in the forests and in the mountainous regions, so this feels rather comfortable to you as well. The cold doesn't really worry you too much. I mean, you rug yourself up because you don't want to freeze to death, but you're quite comfortable in this region as well.
Why is it so damn cold here?
Because mountains?
Because snow.
I'm just going by the fact that I've never been to the snow. So
no, you've never been this far north.
So it's cold.
Sadiq probably has been this far north, but not very often, and is not a fan of the cold either.
Look, my hands, they're going, I don't know what colour they're going, but they're going a colour.
Alessandra's hands are turning, without gloves on, even though there's gloves there, she hasn't put them on, obviously. And her hands are quite blue. It's not really cold though. I mean, it's as cold as you expect to be, like, sort of right on the edge of a snowy sort of region.
I'm just going by the fact that Personak's never been to the snow.
Fair enough. So, what are we doing, guys?
Putting bloody gloves on the starters.
Do we want to leave the horses, and do we think that they'd live if it's
Well,
this
you've got no
cold?
choice to leave the horses. You know that they're looking at the path that you're going to take. It is not big enough to for the horses to travel with you. It is very much a foot track, like a hiking track, very narrow, and covered by snow, so you're not 100% sure sort of where the track may lead once you sort of get there. But there's places you could probably tie the horses up. Whether they would survive, you really don't know.
Do we have blankets for them?
I would say that you've got horse blankets and things like that, but nothing substantial. Not like a horse cover.
This was well thought out when we came up here, because didn't we lose horses not that long ago?
We lose horses
You're
all the
real
time.
quiet, Adam. Like super quiet, dude.
Maybe if we slap them on the rump, they'll go back to where they came from. Huh?
Actually, does anyone have an animal command so we can tell them to go home?
Oh.
Can anyone talk? Oh, hang on. Hold your horses.
No, you hold your horses.
Oh.
Head can talk to the animals if Anari cannot.
I think I was messing up my... Oh, animal messenger.
I don't think animal message is going to work on a
That's not going to
horse.
work. No, that won't work. Because it's to send a message anyway, not
Yeah.
to... Yep, no, sorry. I thought I had something, but I don't. We have a druid.
You do have a druid.
We have a druid that didn't prepare a talk to animal spell.
Head can
Ugh.
speak with animals.
Ah, that would work. Maybe we need to tell them to go home.
Is that, I mean, you don't want to ask them to wait here till we return?
But if they get too cold, they might freeze to death.
I'll tell them to wait back where the snow is not so free.
You're assuming that we're coming back this way, I assume.
Well,
Will.
I thought we would, yeah. How else will we get back?
Well,
Oh.
there's been other ways we've been going, so I'm just saying.
Okay,
So we...
group decision. Ali, you say send them back or no?
Send back.
Okay, that's one for send back. And Ari, send back or no?
I'm going to go with send them back this time.
Two for send back. Sadiq, send back or no?
Where are we sending him back to?
Where they
Village?
came from.
So all the way back to... Crap, what's that? Capital
got-
city?
Halond?
You got Valond, which is where you bought them from, or you've got Gatton, which is probably about a day's ride from where you are.
Ooh. Gatton?
Yeah, probably send him back to Gatton, so at least we can walk there and pick him up again.
Yeah,
Although,
send
technically, we should have just left him bloody there and
walk
walked
here
in.
anyway. Fiala, you're good for
Hindsight's
that?
2020, guys.
I am good for
Hey,
whatever
we're the
you
lines
guys
of the line.
decide.
This is what we do.
We
Well-
lose horses. That's what we do.
Even if we made a different decision, 3-2, we are outnumbered. Head turns to the horse and then he cuts.
Wait!
Okay,
Write a
he
note.
just
Write a
Waiting.
note. Put it in one of the horses'
Oh, yes.
halters. So when they actually get there, they go, okay, horses. Why are we seeing horses, no riders? At least a note will explain that, hopefully.
Thinking.
that is fair call. And after he does that, after Alessandros, he, she, Shim does that, Hit then leans over to the horse, the biggest, toughest looking horse of the five, and he says, he casts speak with animals, of course, and he says, "Excuse me, my fine four-legged friend. if you would take yourself back to that last town we came from, which I believe is called Gatton, and go and get yourself a room and a drink at the inn, that would be much appreciated. You can wait for us there. And the rest of them just hear.
And that's exactly what you hear is hit whinnying and braying with the horses, and all the horses sort of nod, sort of stomp their feet and nod and respond with a very similar fashion. And after a few moments, they all turn and start leisurely making their way back the way you came. You can only assume that they got the message, and you will find them in Gatton when you return. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Do you think
We
we
have
should?
faith in Het.
Do you think we should have given them weapons to defend themselves?
They have their hooves, they'll be fine. And they can run.
Yep, sounds good.
So with
Right.
that, the horses have now departed, heading back towards Gatton, you hope. You turn and you look at what lies ahead of you, and the mountainous peak that Sadiq saw on the map and believes would probably be one of the best places potentially look is to the north, but slightly to the west. So looking up slightly to your left, you can see this large peak off in the distance. It's a fair distance off. It's going to be a fair hike. You're looking at it. You know, all of you know, looking at the distance, it's probably going to be at least a day's trek and maybe an overnight stay before you can probably reach this peak. But you're committed. You're ready to set out. You've got your winter clothes. Some of you are standing there in very little minimalist armor, but still not shivering, not even turning a funny colour. But you are all prepared to set out. Is there anything else you're going to want to discuss before heading off to this snowy path that lies ahead of you?
I think we're good.
One thing. Has anyone got a vial or a bottle or an empty container of some description? That's okay.
Look,
Or
if you
what?
gotta go to the bathroom, you just use a tree. It's okay. You don't have to, you know.
If
I
if
could
you're
empty a
talking
water skin.
if you're talking about holy water, is that what you want?
No, I have holy water. That is, I believe I have some holy water.
She
No, I was
did.
just meaning an empty. Next time we use something, I need an empty vial. I'm thinking glass, but a potion's in glass
I
here.
reach in for my pack and hand over Het an empty flask. You know, one of the 4 that I've got.
Okay.
Thank you. Hitz gets some bits of. He's got some separate clothing in his pack, and he wraps it very carefully so it can't get smashed easily.
Okay.
He puts it into his pack and says, "Thank you, Sadiq. I was just wondering what I would put the dragon's blood in when it came time to collect it."
Don't you
Yes.
just have to put a drop of it in the holy water?
Correct, but I didn't want to. I mean, what if we make a mistake and we need to make a second lot? I'll take more than just a drop of her blood if she allows.
Fair enough.
You know, whoopsie daisy, spilt. Oh, I broke the. Oh crap! Now we have no more blood holy water. What must we do? That's kind of like picking one apple off the tree for a stew. You know, it seems a little silly.
What are you doing putting apples in stew in the first place?
I was using a metaphor that someone would probably understand other than me. I mean, I could have said that's like making stew from one deer, but you would have all gone, "Wow, what's going on there?"
He doesn't know how to cook. He eats raw meat. You gotta figure that. So.
Ah, yeah. Does eat raw meat, doesn't he?
Anyhow, shall we lead the way, Sadiq?
So with Sadiq leading the way,
Ha ha!
you start heading and start on this path. And initially the snow is about ankle deep, and it's not slow going. It does slow you down a little bit. You do, after some time, those of you that are not used to the cold, you do find it not painful, but somewhat uncomfortable. The cold The further you head into this sort of heavily forested and snowed area, the colder it does seem to get, and it does become uncomfortable. You all are able to see your breath hanging heavy in the air every time you breathe and when you speak. Alessandros, you find it especially uncomfortable, as you've never been to the frozen norths of the realms. You find it harder going still a couple of hours into your journey, as the thick layer of snow sometimes reaching waist height at times. The cold doesn't seem to bother Het at all, nor does it bother Fiala with her newfound tiara. But you press forward. After a little while, you probably stop for a break, I would imagine. You've travelled for about 2 or 3 hours. Alessandros at this point is struggling a little. So, Alessandros, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me, please, as does Sadiq and Anari.
23.
Your half-orcish constitution, the blood of your clan running through your veins. It is cold, it's uncomfortable, but you are not overly affected by this environment, and you're starting to get a little bit used to it. You expected it. The cloak you've got obviously has some pretty good fur lining to it, the boots, the gloves. At times when you have to use the snowshoes, it keeps you above that sort of soft snow. But you're doing okay. Alessandros.
Fiala, may I borrow one of your garments that you aren't using, please?
What'd you roll?
I'm freezing. I'm freezing.
What did you roll?
8.
8? Yeah, you guys all notice Alessandros is shivering heavily, teeth chattering. She's not looking very good. You're not taking any damage at this point, but you're not comfortable at all. And Anari.
Anari?
Yes, Anari.
Constitution? Oh, yep, there it is. Sorry, I was having a moment.
Clearly.
Oh. No. 4.
4. Anari, you again.
Hang on. Can I use my DM's inspiration to roll again?
You can.
Oh, I just realised that. Yes, that's better. 16.
Thanks for the reminder. I'll use it next time.
16. So yeah. So with that, you've pulled your cloak in a little tighter, but you're definitely feeling the cold. But you're doing okay. But yeah, so you're not doing too badly. You just, again, your teeth starting to chatter, you're starting to shiver a little bit. Not as bad as poor old Alessandros, but you're both not really having a good time of things. It's very cold.
Right. At least we've got clothes on and I'm looking strangely over it.
Yes.
Yeah, thinking. Okay.
She's quite happy. She's there with her.
She's making me even colder.
I know,
mean, come
the
on.
armor that she's wearing is just, yeah, it doesn't make sense. But you guys know that she's wearing. You've seen the new tiara, and you obviously you're not stupid. So you can figure out something's happened that she's able to be out here dressed this way without.
Although
any
she
problems.
could turn herself into a polar bear and be completely content in the first place.
There is that too.
I'm gonna go and give my extra coat and wrap it around Alessandros, and I'm gonna put a scarf around Anari and very motheringly tuck it in.
Thank you.
Het walks up to Alessandros and says, Ali, if I give you, I could breathe ice all over you, right? That would cool you down even colder than the ice we're in now. So then you would warm back up to the temperature you were before, and then henceforth that wouldn't feel so cold anymore.
Can someone please explain that in English for me, please? Anybody?
You know, it's like if you're outside in the cold and you have an ice cold water and you're like, oh, that's cold, but then you acclimatize sort of thing. No, you don't want to
No.
do that.
No.
Okay.
Also,
Well, thanks for the offer.
while you guys were doing that, I'm going to use one of my spell slots. One of the two.
What is a spell slot? Nari?
I don't know. I'm going to use something special, and I want to use my ability to
What's it called?
primeval awareness. I want to see if there's any dragons, fays, in
So,
or
as a-
around
yeah,
the
so
area.
You can-
Ranger slot, ranger
yeah.
spell
So
slot.
you watch as Anari, she sort of speaks something, hang on a minute, and makes a gesture in the air and sort of concentrates for a moment and casts her primeval awareness. For just a moment, she closes her eyes and sort of stands and concentrates. After 3 or 4 minutes, Anari, you do indeed sense a presence. Within, you're not 100%, you don't know the location. You can't pinpoint any location, but there is definitely you get a presence of Fae somewhere within that 6 mile radius, or up to 6 miles from your area. So this being a favoured terrain of yours, a terrain that you've spent some time in, there's definitely a Fae presence, and there is definitely dragon presence.
Oh, that's good. We're on the right track then.
Like I said, you
right
can
track
tell
or
them that
Oh,
you have no idea where, but it's definitely within 6
there's-
miles.
There's definitely a dragon within 6 miles of us, and where there are some fae around as well.
Okay, within 6 miles. That's close.
Yes, it's not as close as we'd like it to be, but it's close.
Right, do you continue to proceed north following this trail?
I would say that's probably a good idea.
Yes.
So, you continue northward, getting again slow going. How long does that primeval awareness last for? Do you know? Does it say? Is it up to an hour?
At primeval awareness.
Oh, for 1 minute. So 1 minute. For 1 minute per level. So what level did you cast it at?
I didn't realize I had to cast it at level.
Yes, it says there as a spell slot, so you get to choose which spell slot you use. So you have to use a spell slot, so whether it's first, second, or third.
I would use just a first
So
level.
it'll only last a minute. For that minute, you do sense those things right up until the end of the spell's duration. You still sense the dragon within that area. You sense that there is Fae about as well.
Yeah.
Is Kalek out at this moment?
No, Click is away in the void.
So you still sense
Also,
the Fae.
DM, I discovered something just slightly off topic.
Yes.
Click moves under his own initiative, not on mine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, just
What
for
is-
future
yeah,
reference.
we'll do that for the future, no problem. So after what seems like maybe another 3 or 4 hours of trudging through the relentless snowfall, a break in the weather. It hasn't been snowing, but it's been overcast and a lot colder than you expected. After 2 or 3 hours of continuing north, there's a break in the weather. The sky clears, and you can now, for the first time, very clearly see this icy peak that you're heading towards. From where you are, you discern that it's probably another 3 or 4 hours traveling from here, at least, before you could get to roughly the base of this peak. It's not going to be easy going. It looks like there's a couple of areas you're going to have to maybe scale if the path doesn't lead that way, you might have to scale a bit of an ice wall. But for all intents and purposes, you're definitely on the right track. Who has the highest passive? We've got... Well, shit, all those passives have changed. Holy crap.
I have
What's all your
15.
passives, guys?
18.
15.
I think 18 would be the highest, wouldn't it?
Yeah, hit is only 15.
15s. You muted trash.
You're talking about perception.
Passive perception, yeah.
Yeah, 15.
9.
What's yours? 9.
Fine.
Holy crap. You see nothing.
Same as my insight.
Holy Jesus. That is
That's
low.
13.
So 18. So
That's
Fiala,
fine.
you'd probably be the first to notice it. You see a very large, albeit kind of odd footprint. Just a single footprint. It's about 14 inches from heel to toe, and about 6.5 inches to 7 inches across the ball. It's massive. It's like 3 times the size of your own feet.
Guys, you might want to look at this in the snow. Maybe especially Inari, since she's a ranger.
I was just about to say, would I have any idea of what it would be?
It's a big foot.
It's a Bigfoot.
It's a big foot. Not a big foot. A big foot. It's just a big footprint.
As in, what kind of animal it would be from?
There's no real
Thank-
discernible animal shape, or it looks more humanoid than animal, but it's just a big hole in the snow. Like the snow is about 1.5 foot deep here, and you can see quite clearly that it's just a single impression, which is odd. It's pointing
It's
it's pointing in the direction that you guys are going. Do you all look around to see if you can find any more, or?
Yes, I would be looking.
Now that Fiala's pointed it out to you, you sort of look around and there's no other tracks. It's just that single footprint, but it's pointing in the direction you're travelling.
There wouldn't be a track a wee bit further up, because thinking about the size of it, would it not be quite a...
roll investigation. You can go.
I'll roll investigation, go and have a look.
If you want to, for you, be at advantage, being in your
Okay.
favourite terrain. You have a bit of a scout around, looking for more evidence.
Good thing it's at advantage, because I rolled 9 twice.
So what's the total?
9.
So, but if you rolled a 9, it can't be a total.
No,
of 9.
I rolled 4 twice, so 9.
Oh, so that's 9. Yeah, you look around, you can't see any other evidence of another track. It's just a single large footprint.
Okay. Can't see any others, guys, sorry.
Do we want to follow this, or would this be a bad thing? You think?
Well, it's heading in the same direction you're already travelling.
Yeah.
As we'll carry on. If we need to go that way, so probably just keep on going, keep our wits about us.
So we're going to continue to travel.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep.
So with this footprint in all of your minds, I'm assuming you're now going to keep an eye out for more potential evidence that you're not alone. You travel maybe another hour and a half, 2 hours before you, again, Fiala with your passive, before anyone else spots it and you point it out to them, you find another one. This time, the one that you found previously looked like it might have been a left foot. This time you find one that looks like it's a right foot. Again, single footprint on its own, still leading north.
Would we be able to gauge the size of this creature just looking at that, if that's the
Roll
right
an intelligence
foot?
check. Anyone who wants to try and determine the size of this entity, judging on its footprint size.
22.
22.
6.
Anari, you're looking at it and going, it's fucking big. Anyone else?
One big foot.
No, because I have a 7.
7?
So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're looking at it, yeah, it's big. You put your foot next to it, and it's like, well, if my foot's this big, that's just real big.
I get the urge just to lie down next to it to see how long it is.
Like I said, it's about about 14 to 15 inches from heel to toe. Sadiq, Hit, did you roll as well?
No, Hit is not looking at
Okay.
that.
So
It is
Sadiq,
looking towards the sky.
okay, so Sadiq, with your 22, with your skills as a soldier, and you probably had some tracking skills, I would imagine, as well, some tracking training. But you're definitely able to determine, by looking at the size of this footprint, this creature, if indeed it does have 2 feet, although you've only seen single prints, but you have now seen a left and a right, would be anywhere between probably 12 to 15 feet tall, and would have to weigh a reasonable amount. The snowpack is, like I said, it's about 1.5 to 2 feet deep, and it's a wide print, and it's right to the ground, like it's right to the permafrost layer, so it is heavy. So it's definitely large, a very large creature. Do you continue on?
We did get a shape of the footprint, didn't we?
It's humanoid.
Humanoid.
It just looks like a giant boot. Just like it's nondescript sort of boot-shaped print.
Would we have come
Anari,
Would we have come across creatures with feet like this before?
Anari, probably not. Oh, actually, no, you may have. Again, roll a history check. Michelle. Or Fiala.
Maybe they'll have more warm clothes for you, Ellie. They seem like big guys. The coat must be enormous. We could ask.
Yeah, we could.
No, you
8.
probably
8. Yeah.
live in one of its shoes, begun by the size of this thing.
Yeah, Anari, you think about it for a bit, and you're searching your memory, trying to figure out whether you may have come across something of this size, or something that you might be able to determine what this may be, and nothing comes to mind at this point. But I do need Alessandris, Anari, and Sadiq to make another Constitution saving throw, please. As a cold wind now starts to blow, the sky starts to turn that dark grey colour again, and it starts to snow.
Oh, this is lovely.
22
again. You just don't seem to be worried about the snow at all, Sadiq. You're standing there, you've got your cloak closed to keep yourself as warm as possible, but you're just not affected by this cold. It doesn't seem to phase you at all. Anari.
Now I get the nat 20, so 21.
You've taken this time. You seem to have become a little bit acclimatized to your surroundings. So it's cold. You're still shivering somewhat, and you're definitely feeling it, but it's not affecting you. Alessandris.
I'm getting a little better, I think. 15.
Yeah. Again, same with you. You've been in the area now for some hours, so you are becoming a little bit more acclimatized to the climate, but it's still very, very cold. You're still feeling it. It's just not affecting you physically at this point. Hit, looking up at the sky and seeing the storm clouds roll in, as the clouds sort of turn from that white, fluffy candy floss sort of look to very ominous grey. The snow starts to fall. You are able to determine that it's probably a good idea that you find some form of shelter, and soon. There is a storm incoming, and as your knowledge of coldness and everything else, even Fiala, you'd probably know this as well. And Anari, you'd even probably see it coming too, being your particular terrain. If you get caught in a blizzard or a snowstorm, someone is going to suffer greatly if you do not find cover soon.
Hit pulls forth from his... Actually, he's holding on to it because it's part of his spell casting now. Holds forth his skull. He flips the lid open, sees the compass. We're traveling northward, correct?
You are traveling slightly slightly northeast, but you're on the right track. So it's north, just sort of northeast.
He looks to the sky. He looks back to the compass, and he says, there's a storm coming. He closes the lid of the compass again. He says, we must find shelter. I believe we're going to get reined in, so to speak.
Where we are, does it look like there's any shelter nearby?
Looking around, you're on at the moment you sort of started to traverse a small peak. So on your right hand side, as you're looking sort of out over the valley, it drops off quite steeply. You've got trees and rocks and that all sort of down this quite steep slope. There's almost as equally steep slope to your left, goes up a little bit and then almost completely vertical. But you do see ahead, it looks like it plateaus off somewhat, and it looks like to be some more trees and a few rocky outcrops, which could potentially be maybe a rock formation or caves or something. Look, you can definitely see potential for some form of cover ahead of you.
Head towards it then.
Right, so you push on, you move forward, traversing the rest of the small peak. You get to the top and it does indeed flatten off to a bit of a plateau. You do see to your right, as you sort of scan around, there is a group of trees sort of clumped together, and then it sort of breaks into a little bit of a clearing, and something catches your eye, Sadiq, as you're sort of probably the first to crest the hill. Looks to be, sort of looking through the trees, something man-made. It's covered in snow. You're not 100% sure what it is, but it stands out as being not a natural formation of snow. And as the rest of you crest the hill up behind Sadiq, Fiala definitely would notice it with her passive. So do you move towards that particular area, or do you continue looking sort of rest of the plateau?
Head towards what appears to be man-made.
Okay, so as you
Gotcha.
move forward and breach through these trees, you step into what definitely is a small clearing. It looks like it's been cleared by a man. There's a couple of felled trees. You move forward, and the object that you saw was a wood pile, cut, split, stacked wood, covered in snow, but it's very clear that it was cut and stacked here. As you sort of look around, you find another pile of snow that looks odd shape. You move a bit of the snow away, and it's a tent that's half collapsed, but looks like it might be serviceable. Then you find another one and another one. In the center, as you move around, you sort of something hits your foot as you move through the center of what this potentially is an old campsite, and you find the edge of a fireplace that has been built with rocks in a ring formation. You then find, walking around sort of investigating, Fiala, you'd probably find them first. You find the remains of 3 horses, long dead. The carcasses have been covered in snow, some and frozen, so they're somewhat preserved. One of the horses has had its belly ripped open by some form of animal, by looks. The others look like they've probably died naturally. And looking at it more closely, if you wish to, you'd probably be able to determine that this horse has probably died, has been munched on after death. They've probably died of the cold, and animals have had a go at them. If you wish to investigate further, you can, but at the moment that's roughly what you see from where you're standing. But it looks like it would be potentially, if you're able to set yourselves up, the trees provide some shelter from the wind, and obviously tents would provide shelter from the snow if they were reconstituted or using your own tents.
How big are the tents that we've found? Are they
The 3 tents would
one?
be two-man tents size. You'd fit 2 people, 2 average type humans in them quite comfortably. You'd probably have to redo some of the tent poles and stuff, and re-erect them, but because they have had the weight of several snowfalls on them since they were last used.
What do you want to do? Set up our own tents, or try to set up these ones?
Set up these ones.
May as well, they're already here and half up.
Yeah.
Maybe just check for bodies inside them first, maybe.
That too.
Also a good idea.
Do that.
So you clear some of the snow away, and I don't need to roll for it. You all sort of pitch in, you clear some of the snow from the tents. You open the flaps of the tent, pull it open, have a look, investigate inside. Inside the first tent, it's empty. There's nothing, like there's no personal effects or anything in this one. It's just a bare tent. The second tent, you find a small pack and a bedroll, no body. And the third tent, you do find the body of a dwarven male. Again, long dead, face frozen in a horrific half scream, eyes wide. His right leg appears to is missing, mostly. Very jagged wounds, bone exposed, but he is frozen solid. It looks like he's been here for quite some time.
Go through the body to see if we can find any paperwork to tell us who he actually was.
Going through the pockets, roll investigation check to go through the pockets. Is anyone searching the small pack you found in the second tent?
Yeah.
In that you do find a small potion of healing, just a regular potion of healing. Probably about 4 or 5 days worth of rations that are long rotted. They're quite disgusting, although frozen solid, but you can tell that they're rotten. And not much else. A hammer, chisel, looks like possibly some basic tools. Sadiq, your investigation.
26.
26. Yeah, you go through this body like a pro. Like you've been taking tips from Alessandros here, going through this body, through the pockets. You're looking at it, looking the seams of the trousers and around his collar to make sure he's not hiding anything. You do find a small piece of parchment. You unfold it, and at the top it's got the Lond Mining Company. And it's got an order for some gemstones, by the looks. Diamonds, some rubies, and it's got amounts by them. Looks like this guy was potentially a miner here looking for gemstones for the Lond Mining Company, and has probably met a very sticky end at the hands of some wild animal, by the looks of it.
So, drag his body out, bury him somewhere, probably near a tree. And
Yeah,
then,
you can. I mean, it doesn't take. I mean, the ground's pretty hard, but it'll take you a little bit of time to sort of break through the frozen ground to bury him. But you do so. You remove the body. Takes you guys maybe a couple of hours to set up your tents, reset up your tents, cutting branches and that to remake tent poles and using any rope that you find, which you do find some old rope and that around the place. And you clear off the campfire, you find some dry tinder, and you light your fire, you get your fire going. This whole time the weather starts to pick up, the snow gets a little heavier. Inari, can you roll a survival check for me please, with advantage, on how you set up the fire and how you set up the camp to best combat the incoming storm, being that this is your type of terrain.
22.
22. So Inari, you guys watch as Inari sort of mills around the fire a little bit and comes up with a pretty cool looking little idea where she gets 4 green branches, hammers them into the ground around the campfire, and then after milling around the campfire, she finds like a bit of a almost like a steel grill type thing. It looks like it's copper wire being laid in a crisscross formation, and it looks like these guys may have used it to potentially maybe filter dirt looking for gems or something like that. And she puts it over top of the fire, about 2 or 3 feet above the fire itself. And she says to you guys, well, this should help keep the snow out of the fire. So this should keep the fire going unless we get a real heavy snowfall. But if we keep the fire hot, any snow that falls on us should melt through and shouldn't douse the fire, hopefully. And she manages to reposition the tents as you guys are putting them up, in a slightly better position among the trees, so that the trees provide a bit more shelter from the winds. Where the tents were previously situated was kind of almost like a wind tunnel situation, where the winds would have come through, and it would have been quite detrimental if the winds had picked up to sort of gale force levels. But she's quite clever about how she set things up. By this time, you're looking late
Just
afternoon,
not cooking, right?
early evening. The snow is not heavy, but it is constant.
Just you.
The wind has picked up somewhat, and the temperature has dropped several degrees. Fiala, you're still quite warm. The temperature has dropped. You have noticed the temperature drop. You're still not cold, but you have noticed it. Het, you're loving the cold weather. You think it's great. You're just having a good old time. Alessandros, however, because the temperature's now dropped a few more degrees, Sadiq, with your previous constitution rolls, I don't think we even need to make you make another one. You seem to have acclimatized relatively well, but Anari and Sadiq, Alessandros, I need you to remake a constitution saving throw. Saving throws. With advantage, because you now have the aid of a campfire, and you are close to it, but you still need to make those checks, please.
12.
So with advantage, the highest one I got was 9, so I'm going to use the inspiration.
Okay. That's what it's there for. Just make sure you turn make sure you turn inspiration off once you've used it.
Fuck.
What'd you get?
5.
You have to take the new roll as well.
Yep.
So, Alessandros, even though you're sitting right next to the fire, you take 3 points of cold damage, as the bitter cold has really started to affect you. Even though you've got the cloak and everything on, you just can't seem to get warm, even sitting next to the fire, and your teeth are really starting to chatter, and you guys notice that her colour is not the greatest either. She's a lot paler than usual.
Can we look around for some more blankets to snuggle her up in, please?
Anything that was here was frozen, and even if you want to throw it out, it'd be wet for quite some time. You guys would have had your own blankets. Fiala does have her cloak still, her fur-lined cloak that she is not wearing in her bags.
I'm going to sit next to Ellie and wrap my blanket around her as well, just to keep it warm.
Het also gives his blanket to Ali, as he isn't worried about using it at this point.
Okay, so with that, Alessandros, you do feel a lot better. Anari comes and sits next to you and throws her cloak up around your shoulders.
And I'm going to do something weird.
Oh no, he peed in the
It is a
blanket.
bit scary when I'm just sitting next to you.
Okay.
Okay, so given my size, I'm going to shrink a bit, so I can get covered more in the clothing.
Okay, so Anari, what you feel as you wrap your arm and cloak around Alessandros, and Het, you walk over and give Ellie your cloak as well, and you wrap that around you as well. Anari, you feel Alessandros' body
Go flaccid.
kinda shrink a little in size,
Okay.
and almost not unlike it's a weird feeling. It's like she just pulled her shoulders in and just
She's
almost
become a
like
child.
almost like she's snuggling into you, but not. She hasn't moved per se,
Yeah, all
but
good.
it just feels it feels kind of strange. But she does reduce her size just somewhat to try and get more of that warmth from your body heat and extra cloaks and stuff. So with that, guys, you are now fire going, rugged up around the fire. The sun's starting to set. So is there anything you guys wish to achieve before you turn in for the evening?
Food.
Well, you're going to do that anyways. Mark off a day's rations with your food, whatever food you do have. As I say, the snow is falling. The wind has started to pick up a little bit.
I'm gonna start walking around the camp, building a slight wall to try to contain the heat a little bit better within our camp.
I say like a wall of snow kind of thing.
Yeah, just to block the wind from us.
How
a little
how
bit
high
better.
would you like to
A
attempt to
wind
make it?
shear.
Yeah, just a wind. Yeah, just a
Wind
wind
shear?
shear.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, about 3 feet.
About 3 feet.
Yeah, about 3 feet
Okay,
around.
so the
just
wind's
that-
coming from the northwest, so you'd be intelligent enough to know that you're not going to need to make it around the entire camp, but you know the wind's coming from that direction, so it's going to take you a couple of hours to...
Hit will aid.
Okay, hit. So with that, we'll break it down to just over an hour, hour and a half,
Yeah.
with help. But
Digging like a dog.
yeah, hit. Then
Not really digging. It's more of
scooping
like scooping the snow up. So
Like a
that-
dog.
like a dog.
Yeah, like a dog. and then probably getting
dig
Pet
like
to
a
use
dog.
some of his awesome magic to try to freeze that part so it's a little bit more sturdier.
Yes, Hit will use his cold breath on the main areas.
I'd say after about an hour and a half, you guys get a serviceable wind shear to help
And then
reduce
While
the amount
we're
of wind.
working, I'm gonna say to Het, you know what we need to do? We need to buy a tent that we can all stay in. You know, instead of carrying an individual tent each, we need just a 5-person tent.
That,
That
can
that
take
doesn't.
like
very smelly.
That
Crotch,
doesn't seem very good.
stick, and
You're
looking.
not there, Nari. This is Het and
okay.
Sadiq on
Yeah.
their own building the wind shear. You were
Yeah, so-
cuddling up with
I'm
you're cuddling up with
snuggling
Elishon,
Ellie.
Because
so
we
you
could,
can't do anything.
especially
You
at,
don't even hear them.
especially
at
at the
this point.
present moment, we could all be in the tent with the fire in the center, staying nice and warm.
I see what you're thinking, but I mean, for body warmth, yes. But if we did do that, if we were to do that all the time, you wouldn't get much alone time with Anari, would you now?
Why would I want alone time with a Nari?
I just thought you two had something going on. Is it? Oh, maybe you and Ali, is it?
No, I think Ali and Anari have something going on, just like you and Fiala.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
What would you say? What have they been
Look
doing?
at them. And I point over my shoulder and it's like, look how close they're getting together.
And they do look
You could be
rather
onto
they do
something.
look rather intimate, the way that they're sort of cuddled up together for body warmth.
I don't understand, Sadiq. I feel like Ali is smaller than she was before. Maybe as a defense mechanism, but I've heard that fat people hold the cold better.
I don't know, Het. You seem to be doing pretty good in the night.
Yes, well, I am heavy set, aren't I? And you
At the
as
same
well.
time, I'm not shy of the size of my bulk, and I'm feeling pretty good too. So
It means we can take a good beating. We are onto something.
Yes. But I'm still thinking that the bigger tent would actually probably help
Maybe
in these type of situations.
You could be right. Maybe we look into it. Maybe something like a circus tent for all the clowns that we travel with. That was a joke, Sadiq.
What's a circus tent?
You know when... Have you not been to a circus?
No.
Oh, you are missing out. They have animals that do tricks and magic acts, and they have bears that ride around on like bicycles, but only with one wheel. And they have this guy that juggles these balls, and then he juggles flaming balls, and then he juggles flaming bottles and balls, and then he juggles the flaming bottles, the balls, and the beer on the bicycle. It is amazing.
So kind of like what Ali does, but actually professionally.
You're onto something there. Maybe Ali used to work for a circus.
Maybe. That makes sense. And then
But
you got Fiala, who could be your bear riding around on a tricycle. But is that cheating, kind of? Because she's.
Oh yes, because she's not really a trained animal, and the trained animals must want to do it. They can't be slaved and forced to doing things like that. You know, it's one of those. It's a nice thing to see, a big tent with all this fun. It's good for children.
No,
and
I
adults.
was thinking more of like a commander tent, like when you're in a war situation. You know, it's big enough for a bunch of people to be in, but circus tent sounds a bit excessive.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, especially since there's only 5 of us carrying it.
That's also fair. Yes, how big would this military tent be? Just enough for 5.
Yeah, it's normally by like maybe maybe 10 feet by 10 feet big. You know, big enough to have 5 or 6 people sleeping in close quarters with a fire in the center. But decent.
That sounds like a good idea. Hit grabs his notepad out, his beautiful notepad, and his pen, quill, and he makes a quick sort of drawing, writes some measurements on, and shows Sadiq, and says, "Is that roughly what you're talking about?"
Yes, that's roughly it. I'm
DM
actually
was-
amazed that pen still works up here in this cold.
I had to lick it a few times. DM, was my drawing any good?
Roll performance.
This is the first natural one of the game. My plus, I mean, my performance is alright. Plus 11, so 12.
So even with that, I mean, it's okay. Your hands are a little. You haven't been in the north for a while, so your hands are not cold, but it takes a little bit to get used to the wind's quite strong at this point. So the wind's blowing the page. So it takes a little bit out of your drawing, but the drawing's not too bad.
Alright, next time we are in town, Sadiq, I shall have one made or get one that is pre-made. Which color would you prefer?
Beige, I guess.
Beige.
Ooh, wait a minute. Do we actually have a color scheme for the Lions of Toulon? Because we would want it in that color scheme, and we could also get the lion put on the doorway type.
Yeah, well, you guys know that the lion itself is black. It's anything that has the lions, the black lion, the guild sigil on it, is a silver or platinum shield with the black lion's head embossed on the front.
Okay, silver or platinum shield with a black. Okay, we can do that. Is it a good idea to put a giant marker to our enemies of who we are on our tent?
You know what, Het? I think they know where we are anyway, so...
I just think from the sky, you know, like...
Oh no, just on the door, just on the, on the tent flaps. So
oh,
people-
right, I thought you were meaning on the top, like a giant place where, you know,
No,
a
on the
dragon could
top,
drop
you s-
people on.
you'd put, if the tent's rocking, don't come knocking.
Okay, I'll write that down.
And with that, the wind starts to pick up. The storm's definitely coming. The snow's starting to whip up around the camp now. Your wind shear seems to be doing its job. The camp is more sheltered than it was, but the wind is very, very strong. It's getting to the point now where you're having to raise your voices to hear each other. And it's starting to get dark, so you guys know that probably a good idea that you need to be heading into your tents very soon, because the storm is potentially going to turn into a blizzard.
No,
I'd-
then-
I was going to say, I'll just look at Ellie and say, maybe we should share a tent tonight, just purely for warmth. If you're not doing that well.
Yeah.
There's only 3 tents at this campsite. You chose to set those 3 tents up, so two of you or 4 of you are going to have to share, and one
Oh, well,
will
I
be
think
on your
4
own.
of us should share in one tent with
Only
Ellie,
2-person tents.
because
They're only 2 people tents.
I think what we're looking at, Anari, is 2 in one tent, 2 in another tent,
Yeah.
and 1 in the final tent.
So
okay, then
2
I'll share
peers
with
will have to
Ellie.
share, and 1 will be on their
I'll be
I think-
on it,
own.
because, you know.
Okay.
Are you sure, Sadiq, you don't want company to keep you warm?
No, Het, I'm quite sure I don't want you to keep me company.
Oh, I wasn't meaning me. And Hit snaps his fingers and pulls Gillick out of the void as is the tarantula, the hairy tarantula. And he says, as long as you don't roll on him, he can be a nice teddy bear.
Yeah, but now that you've actually got Click out, he can be our sentry. He doesn't mind the cold, does he?
No, but if he's going to be sentry, I will put him in his regular form with wings so he can fly circuits around.
He will struggle. The wind's getting quite strong, so
Oh, good
you
point.
would know Colette would probably struggle in this wind.
I think the best choice is that if he does, because he needs,
He'd still be able to be in imp form, I
yeah,
think.
keep him
'cause
in
Just not
form,
fly.
and he can keep on feeding the fire through the
Well done. I was wondering who was going to suggest that.
So, Hit gives Killick the instructions to feed the fire. Hit will also, I guess have we gathered some wood?
There was
preparation?
quite a large man-made wood pile as
That's
you
right,
guys
it was too.
came in. It was covered in snow. As you uncovered it, the top layer was probably quite wet, but all the stuff in the middle would have been still relatively dry and burnable.
Hit will stack the nearby wood around the fireplace nearby so it dries as it's waiting.
Okay, cool.
And he will instruct Killick to load the fire. Hit will also then offer to take first watch with Killick.
Okay. So the rest of you, now the wind is starting to pick up and become quite strong. The snow is starting to fall quite heavily at this point. Retire to your tents. Alessandros and Inari, you go to a tent. Gala and Select separate tents. Rug yourselves up best you can. Even at this point, Fiala, even with your tiara, the cold is starting. You are starting to feel it. So you do have your bedroll and you got your cloak and blanket. And you do rug yourself up. Leaving Hit and Collect to watch the camp the first 2 or 3 hours. Who is going to take second watch, if at all? Fiala? Okay. And the last watch. Alright. Right, so first watch. The wind starts to whip up around the camp. It is still coming from the northwest, so the wind shear does work quite well. But it whips up over the wind shear and circles around the camp. The tents do blow around quite somewhat through the night, but the wind shear seems to be doing its job. Is there anything you wanted to achieve during your watch yet? Because right now
yes.
you really just can't. You can see in the dark, so your vision's quite good. But the snow's been ripped up around. You've got almost whiteout conditions here, so you really can't see anything. You can't hear anything other than the wind and the howling sort of wind and that through the trees and through the canyons of this mountain.
Hit, since he can't see much anyway, he will get Collect just to walk cautiously a small perimeter. As while he does that, he just wants to rummage through the rest of the snow in this area where this camp was, just to see if there's anything we may have missed.
Roll investigation. At disadvantage, because even with your sight, the wind and snow is quite severe.
That is 10 at disadvantage. 10.
You rummage around where you think there may have been other stuff around the wood pile, around where the horses were found, around the tent where the occupant was found, and yeah, you don't really find anything else. You find some cooking implements that were sort of buried next to, under snow next to the wood pile, a pickaxe, rusty, the handle's really obviously sodden, it's been lying in the snow for God knows how long, but the head of it's quite rusty. But not much else you sort of find.
Lastly, it sits the skull down in front of the fire and sits sort of on his knees. Looks at the symbol of the Steel Lady, opens his book and reads the scripture, a Harris scripture called To Tame a Land, and he reads that before he finishes his watch. He then wakes up the next watch person, if that is all there is.
That is pretty much it. Do you wake Fiala for her watch? By this time it is the wee small hours of the morning, probably 2 o'clock, sort of 2-3ish in the morning. The storm has increased in intensity. The wind is quite a bit louder now, and the snow's not gotten any more intense, but it's definitely being whipped up around with the wind that's coming up this valley and circling off this peak.
Good morning, milady. Sorry to wake you, but it is time for the next watch. It is very cold and windy out here now. I hope you have enough gear.
I've got plans for that. Yeah.
Good work. Was your sleep good?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Otherwise, I have nothing to report, so have a good safe watch. Are you on your own?
Yes, for now, yeah.
Okay, I will leave Killick out for you. he can just mull around.
Thank you.
And
Sleep
good night. Shalom.
Wild shape into a polar bear.
Easily enough done. You step out of your tent and you leave your cloak and everything in there because you know you're not going to need it. You sort of look around the camp, and with that, big white fluffy polar bear.
I'd like to sniff at the horses and see if I knew exactly what kind of animal, be it a wolf or
Okay,
what it
so
ate at
make
them.
an investigation with advantage.
It's 14.
14. You could, looking at it, sniffing at it, you get a faint. It's been under snow for quite some time, so it's kind of hard. The scent is there, but a very very faint scent. And you would say probably wolves, even possibly a bear as well. There's a lot of wolves, snow wolves, and other bears, grizzlies, probably dire bears and dire wolves in the area as well. Not many polar bears in this region, but they're more of the frozen flats of further west. But more likely wolves or a bear of some description. But as I say, so generally with that, it's like the wind is howling through the camp. It's sort of whipping around in mini tornadoes from time to time. Your passive perception is still 18. Through the wind, you do hear something that's kind of odd. It was almost like a whisper, but you couldn't make it out because of the wind. The wind was quite loud, and it sounded like someone was whispering to someone briefly, and then you sort of lost it in the wind. You sort of strained and listened for a while longer, and yeah, the wind's just too loud, and it's, whatever it was is now lost. But it for a moment you thought you heard words. You couldn't make out what they were, but you thought you heard someone talking or whispering. It was kind of weird. Maybe you sort of played off as maybe just the wind through the trees that just made you think that you've heard something. The rest of your watch, however, unless there's anything else you wish to achieve during your watch, generally goes without incident. You keep the fire, keeps stoking the fire as instructed. It is kind of a little bit weird to see this imp just sort of wandering around, kind of on sentry, and then every now and again scuttering into the fire and placing a log on the fire and scuttering back to a sort of patrol. Kind of cute too, but kind of weird at the same time. He does give off his own faint sort of glow of fey energy, being the colour that he is, but seems happy enough. Your shift comes to an end, and it's time to wake Inari for hers.
Alright, I'm just gonna, as a polar bear, I hope this doesn't go bad. Jeez. Stick my head in and at Inari.
I open an eye and look at her and I'm like, okay, that's gotta be a Fiala bear. So I just reach out and give her a pat.
You don't realise it's her. You get woken up by a big polar bear head inside your tent.
Yeah.
You're asleep. You get woken up, or you're meditating, either way. You're woken up with just a bear poking its head in your tent. You've seen a polar bear before. You don't know that it's Fiala. All you see is a bear. That is what you see. You open your eyes and you're staring into the face of a polar bear that is covered in snow, and I'm assuming she probably smiles at you in bear form, so all you see is teeth and bear.
I'm gonna lick her.
And then it licks your face.
With that, I'm just like, oh.
With that, you would probably assume that it is Fiala. I would imagine.
Yeah, well,
But initially, your heart stops.
Bear.
Yeah, initially your heart stops thinking, "Oh crap!" And this is what ate the horses and ate the dwarf that's here. And then she licks your face, and you realise, maybe it's Fiala. But with that, you trade places. Fiala, I'm assuming you revert your form, or do you go try and scare Head as well?
Thank you, DM. I'm gonna take a little, with my paw, I'm gonna get a little snowball. And then I'm gonna, like, open the flap and at it. That's what I'm gonna do. Throw it in there. And then I'm gonna roll up and go to bed as a bear, because it's probably warmer as a bear.
Yeah, the bear's probably not going to fit in the tent.
Okay, I'm
The
gonna
polar bear's
unshape
quite
and then roll
large,
up as
so
a Fiala.
So you open the flap before you throw a snowball at it. And were we aiming at anywhere in particular?
Face.
So Het, you're woken with a start as you are smashed in the face with a big wet snowball. I mean, the cold doesn't bother you, but the fact that it's a big balled up chunk of ice and snow, you'll take 1 point of bludgeoning damage. The cold doesn't affect you at all, but you are woken with a fright as you then see the polar bear shrink back into Fiala's form, and she joins you in the tent.
Oh, jeez, crap. Holy steel lady. Yeah, that gave me a fright, Fiala. I was dreaming of this crazy golden shower thing, and then boom, it was all cold, and that was out the gate. It shakes off the snow like a dog shakes up water. Do you want to start a snowball fight now, or are you going back to sleep?
Oh, we can take this up in the morning. Yeah. Pay back in the morning.
Okay.
Alright, it's on. Alright, night.
Alright, in the morning. I
Right.
shall destroy it.
So you guys eventually find your sleep. Anari, you get up, you rug yourself up. I need you to make a constitution saving throw for your watch, because it is very, very cold now. The snow is quite heavy, the wind is quite strong. It is getting very, very cold this hour of the morning.
I'm gonna crawl into the fire with an 8.
Yeah, you take you take 3 points of cold damage as through your watch, as even though the fire's there and it does help somewhat, just the wind and the snow, the wind chill here is just, it's well into the negatives. It's very, very cold, and you do suffer some damage through the course of the evening. You can't really determine anything that's going on. The wind and howling through the trees, you just can't really hear anything apart from just that. You can't really see anything with the whiteout conditions. But however, towards the end of your watch, as the sun starts to rise, the storm lessens and the wind dies to now just after an hour or so, just a gentle breeze. The fire is still going, and you sort of make a last patrol around the camp. And as you walk around the northwestern side of the camp, you see the two of the exact same footprints you saw on the trail in the snow.
Together.
Stand like something had been standing, watching. Both footprints are facing the camp and the tents, and beside it is another set. Almost identical. A little bit bigger.
Is it time to wake the others up?
Up to you.
I
Your
think
call.
I'll put a pot of coffee on, and then I'll go around and wake the others up and let them know what I've found.
Go do it.
So I put a pot of coffee on, and then I actually am going to wake up Sadiq first of all. I was going to give him a quick shake and say, "Come and have a look at this."
Alright, I'm going to do that and then say to her, don't put the coffee on. I'll do it.
Okay, so I.
Yeah, your
basically
coffee was not the greatest last time, Mary.
Right. Okay, and then I'll just gently wake everybody else up. I'll just shake the tent that Het and Fiala are in. Earthquake!
Oh, good morning.
Morning! Do you want to come out and have a look at this? I've found some footprints.
Okay, Het will just get his gear on.
Cool. So then I'll go and wake up Ali and make sure she's okay as well.
And as you guys are waking everyone up, you get everyone out to the campfire. You show everyone the footprints, and yeah, they're exactly what she said they were. Pretty much exactly identical to what you guys had seen previously. Both standing, facing the camp, side by side. So, Fiala, this is when your mind turns to the whispering that you thought you heard throughout the night, that you couldn't really determine because of the wind, but it kind of twigs to you, think, hang on a minute, 2 and 2 together kind of thing. Maybe I did hear something. Maybe that is what I heard.
Oh, well, I kind of thought it was my imagination last night and the wind was blowing, but it sounded a little like talking or whispering. But I shrugged it off because I couldn't actually make it out. So I don't know if maybe there might have been more than one.
I would, looking at 2 sets of footprints, I look at Fiala and say that would be good because otherwise we're dealing with a 4-footed creature.
Well, you never know in Paradigm. So.
Again, Fiala, you'd be the first one to notice about 15 or 20 feet from where the footprints are, back towards the rock face that is the peak that you guys are heading towards. You see a cloud of white mist that stands out because it shouldn't be there. It just puffs out and then dissipates, as if someone had just breathed out, and then it disappears.
Did you guys see that over there? It looked like a breath. Yep.
Did we?
Like a mist. No?
Over where?
I feel like I'm seeing things and hearing things. About 30 feet that way. Maybe we should follow it.
Let's go and investigate.
So you're going to head towards it?
Yeah, why not?
Marching order, please.
Head in
Uh-oh.
front.
Het will definitely be in the middle of the group.
So who's walking
Probably
out in front?
me in front.
You in
I'll
front?
go back a bit
Okay, you're
further.
back. So as you guys sort of start moving forward, Sadiq in front, I'd say Het, Fiala and Alashondas in the middle, Elliot and Ari towards the back. The moment you sort of make sort of 4 or 5 feet heading towards that direction, you hear from behind you, "She's not here. Why are you looking for her?" You turn.
Yes.
Yes.
As you turn, initially you don't see anything for 10 seconds or so, and you're all looking confused. What just happened? Who spoke? And then a slight shimmer as a 15-foot tall giant steps forward, seemingly out of nowhere. His footfalls barely hearable. I mean, you'd expect something of that size to shake the ground or to... You hear the crunching of snow, but it's unusually quiet as he steps forward. He's got long, white, almost dreaded hair, which looks not unlike snow in a lot of respects. He's wearing big furs and carrying a large spiked club on his belt. It's not outraised or anything like that. He's armored somewhat, almost like leather armors underneath this big sort of fur animal furs. not unlike, it looks a lot like a large Viking man, like bearded, but it's all very snowy and icy. His skin is very light grey, his eyes are very, very brilliant pale blue. And again, he asks, "Why do you seek her? What brings you here?"
Hello? Who?
You're here for the Drake, are you not? The mighty Yldry owns these lands. This is her domain.
Right,
Why
we're in
do
the
you
right time.
seek her?
We want to talk to her.
For what purpose?
We want her help to kill Kosis.
Cass.
No, Kosis.
Casting ghosts.
Cass and Kosis.
We want her help to kill everything that's bad in the world.
And then from at this point, as you guys are saying this, from behind you, you hear another crunch in the snow, and another frost giant steps out, seemingly of nowhere. And this one says, "We take her to the master." The one in front of you says, "Quiet. I need to determine if they are telling the truth."
I look up at one of them and say, we don't mean her any harm.
Who's the master?
Yldry is the master. We protect her belongings and her home. Many have tried to destroy her. It is our job to protect all that she has. You do not seem aggressive. Maybe there is some truth in what you say.
Although, you said she's not here.
No, not at the moment. But if you would follow me, she will be able to communicate with you.
Okay.
He then
Right, okay with
turns
this?
and waves.
I guess
He
sounds-
turns and waves his hand. The other giant steps up past you guys around the camp and joins him. And as this frost giant waves his hand, the whole landscape to the northwest shimmers and changes. And about 45 feet in front of you is a large cave entrance. Not unlike when I find me.
First thing, very cool. Second thing, what's your names?
Names. We have no need of names. We just
Okay.
are.
How do you identify each other?
Yeah, what do
we
you
call
call
you?
each other? Yeah.
We don't call each other anything.
Name.
I am who I am, and he is who he is. We are just guardians.
So do we call you Guardian 1 and Guardian
I
2?
think we
If-
should call him I am and he is.
That
If you
sounds
wish
good.
to
Gar1 and
label
Gar2.
us, that is fine. So what you essentially see was not unlike the photo that I showed you guys earlier. You are standing in a snowy wooded area with a small clearing, and about 40 feet to your northwest is a snowy outcrop and rocks either side, and the rocks continue up and over with a large opening, and definitely big enough for these giants to walk directly in. And you would determine, knowing this roughly the size of a ancient drake, a dragon would definitely be able to fit here, but it'd be a bit of a tight squeeze to get through this particular entrance, but would definitely be big enough for a dragon. So they walk forward and then stand either side of the opening of this this cabin. And with that, the one we shall call Guardian 1 turns and says, he points at you, Fiala. Small one, would you allow her to use you as a vessel?
I will.
And with that, he motions for you to come forward. And so do you step forward?
Yes.
And before we go any further, we're going to take a small break, guys. We're going to take a wee break just to before we get into the next lot of RP. Ladies and Germanies, bear with us for just a few moments while we take a short break so that the players can get coffee and drink and drain the proverbial vein or whatever they do. But we will be right back in a few moments. See you soon.
never know.
And we're back. Just waiting on Sadiq and the Trashy to come back. But, yes, so very interesting indeed. I love it how you guys wanted to know their names. And it's like, why do they have to have names?
Everything has to have names, man.
Not everything.
Maybe we wanted to be friends.
I got asked names of creatures last night in my game that I didn't have prepared, and it was quick and nimble. You know, you just mix up Jeff with Jimmy, and you get Jeffimy and stuff. Just you go with it.
Well, I thought about it, and I thought, no, I'm just not going to give him any name. I mean, see what happens. Although the chat seems to think that what did we have in the chat? We had
I can see Jay and Silent Bob. Oh,
that was me. We had Bob and Steve, Frosty 1 and Frosty 2.
Adam and Steve.
Guardians
So
of the
funny.
Glacier.
I was thinking Jay and Silent Bob as well.
I don't have any of that. Mine starts from someone saying damn wee brakes on it, because I put the trat out the corner, so I don't know, it must do nothing over there, huh?
I don't know. I keep it open just in case for things like that, just in case someone needs to take a break, but also keep an eye on the private chat just in case any particular character needs to discuss something outside of the group that they can DM me. So we know
Struggle. I
what's
don't want to
going
be.
on.
I don't want to be guided by the chat.
No, well, I generally turn the
That leads down a
Twitch,
dark
I
path.
generally turn the Twitch chat off during roleplay moments,
Oh yeah.
but I have the Skype chat open.
Well, what dark path does that lead down, Michelle? The one where you think the head's naked?
Yes. Oh god, we're gonna bring that up.
Yep, naked head. Oh wait, he's not naked. Ah.
That, or you know what you should do as a beaver? Oh,
Alright, I think everyone is back.
Yeah,
So
I had to
we
get my
will-
meat, sorry.
That's alright. We will turn back over to Le DM.
You know exactly what's going on in your house, Ed.
Yoink.
What? What?
What?
What's going on?
What's going on in your house?
We know exactly what was going on.
Dog.
I make coffee.
I let the mute off.
She left the mute off, so we heard everything.
Good.
You're in trouble.
We know who wears the
Dog.
pants in that house.
Swear to
No,
God. get that out.
Adam wears the pants in that house. Michelle just tells him which ones.
Yeah. And what color?
Yeah. Saves me the hassle of trying to work out what I'm wearing. For
Exactly. This is the way I look at things too.
I just own everything black and simple.
Well, that as well. That kind of
That
helps.
one tells me.
We're the black ones. Okay.
Which ones?
All right.
That's my
We will immerse ourselves back into the frozen north of Paradigm Falcon Hills, and as I said before, you are now face to face with two large frost giants standing facing you. The larger of the two has spoken to Fiela, asking if Fiela will allow her to be spoken through, and he motions for you to step forward. You step forward, and he says to you, turn and face your friends and open your mind.
Maybe so.
And he then makes a motion behind her, just with a single hand, motions his hand through the air and then back again, and mutters a few simple words that... Does anyone speak giant by any chance?
Let's have a look.
Common, infernal, and orc. So,
Not I.
No, Draconic Elvish, Infernal, Primordial, and Common. No.
Don't think Alessandros does, and
Alessandros doesn't really even speak common that well.
no.
So,
So with that, I mean, Fiala wouldn't understand him.
And your
She's
point.
Fiala doesn't really hear anything at this point. But when he finishes what he's saying, Fiala's eyes slowly open, and then her eyes roll over white, and she then speaks. but it's not Fiola's voice that you guys hear. This voice is unfamiliar. But she
Maybe
speaks
familiar
directly
from the
to
last
you.
time you heard it.
And now over to Fiola. You're muted, lady.
Did y'all hear that? No.
I did.
Yeah, the voice is not familiar. It's not Fiola's voice that you hear.
No, it wasn't.
I say in Draconic and then in common. Kitir waxlekar sidul. Why do you enter my lair? Who comes before me?
Take it away, Hit.
Hit in Draconic answers. He first steps forward in front of the group and then kneels down on one knee in front of Fiola, and he stares back in Draconic. We are the Lions of Valond. We are here to ask of you aid of some description. If you wish to aid us, that would be kind.
Oh, the Lions of Valond. I have been keeping an eye on you. An ice dragonborn, a man after my own heart, and a beautiful young elf ranger, and Sadiq, and Alessandrus. I knew your parents well. They told me fate would have us meet one day. I know
Right.
why you are here. If I show you where I'm hiding, are you going to kill me?
No.
And how am I supposed to trust that?
A great Yldry, I assume. I am going to guarantee that she will not harm you. If she makes any advances, I will put her down.
And who do you all trust and who do you serve?
Speaking for myself, we trust each other and we serve the greater good at this current point in time, or what we think is the greater good.
If you trust each other, didn't one of your party betray you and leave?
Yes, you are correct.
And didn't one of your other party members kill that one?
That is also correct.
And this is the team that you are bringing before me?
Well, you see, just as in relationships, Yldry, there are ups and downs. Sometimes you have to trust someone, and other times they break that trust, and then sometimes they're given a chance to build that trust again. Would you not agree?
Bringing the relationship card into this, are we?
Relationships don't just mean love. Relationships mean how you deal with all peoples of all kinds, all races.
And you are asking my aid in what exactly? Fighting Kosis?
Kosis and Cass, and as you well, you know, both of these, I presume, and they are going to be detrimental to the health of this entire world, this entire realm.
I was betrayed long ago, and after all those years in hiding, I've known that Kosis must be stopped once and for all. And I have determined to handpick the team myself this time. One that won't turn on me. But if I join you, I will not spoon feed you to Kosis and his army. I can help you better if you're as strong as you can be on your own. So I will not fully help you until the last battle. And I will give Kosis the respect he deserves by not giving him the killing blow. I can only give him that much. You agree that that would be a good condition for us?
That is an excellent condition for us. Isn't that right, team? Everyone nod.
I agree.
I think that
I agree
sounds
too.
very fair.
Everyone make a persuasion check, please.
Persuasion. Yeah, I'm really good at these.
Actually, everyone make one individually, and I'll take the average across the team.
17.
17 from Inari. Inari, yours will be at disadvantage. Sorry.
Oh.
Ed, what's yours?
Hit got a natural 1.
9.
So 9 from Inari, natural 1 from Hit.
Perka?
0.
Wow.
How do you manage a 0?
Got
Because I've
minus.
got a nat 1.
Another
I've got a
natural
minus.
1, and he's got a minus modifier. 2 nat 1s.
I will say hit
Alessandro's.
is 8 without.
4.
Oh, holy shit, guys.
Wow.
Didn't go as well as we'd planned.
All
With-
right.
Yeah.
But are we trying to persuade her though? Because
Well,
you know,
what the thing is, she's trying to determine whether you guys are genuine or not.
should I roll
I-
like that?
So,
We're genuine. We're just not very persuasive.
yeah, so, I mean, Hit,
Hang on. I got an idea.
Yldry is definitely, you definitely know that they're truthful. I mean, they're definitely being truthful in what they're saying. They do need your help. You sense that. Hit especially is very honest and very much straight.
Hit
with
is
you.
nervous.
But
in
everyone
front of
is
her.
everyone is very nervous knowing that they're now speaking with potential. I mean, you guys are not 100% sure that that's who you're talking to. I mean, you're standing in front of Fiala. All you see is Fiala with her eyes wide open. The voice is very commanding and echoes through these valleys.
Hell, I'm just
somewhat.
standing here shivering.
So yeah, I'd say nerves is playing a big part, and I think Yldry would know that at this point.
I have a bargain for you. You can probably go to a corner and discuss it among yourselves. One of you must sacrifice yourselves in exchange. Discuss.
And
Hold
with
on, one
that,
of us-
Fiala's eyes blink, and she's back to herself. And the frost giant steps forward and says, "You have some time to discuss the proposal, if you wish. Let me know when you wish to speak to her again." And he just takes 2 steps back and stands, arms crossed in front of him, as does the other one, and just back to almost statue-like, unmoving.
So, guys, how did it go? We're in?
So it's not as easy as it seems, Fiala.
You didn't hear any of that? You weren't privy to any
Yeah,
of
Fiala
that was
knows
happening?
nothing of what was said.
What's she saying?
Hit relays everything.
Yeah.
And then Hit says, Sadiq, Inari, Ali, Fiala. The choice is obvious. It is I. I will sacrifice myself. I am the white dragon. She is a white dragon. We are not exactly similar, but I think it would be a bold statement if I offer myself as the sacrifice. Done.
No.
Mm-mm.
I don't agree. I don't understand why Champion of Men would want a sacrifice to join.
A test, maybe?
It could be a
That's what
test.
I've got the feeling it's a test. I think the correct answer is no one.
I
Yeah.
got an idea.
Oh, here we go. This will be you. Okay.
Wow.
Your
I
ideas
have
normally
faith.
end up.
I have faith.
with
What's your
ideas,
idea, Ali? You got this.
Well, I do have this blade.
Which blade?
Hang on, where is it?
Give me that dragon blade.
He's like searching his pockets, like,
Yeah, that blade,
Old dragon blade.
which I am not planning on using at all.
Good, because Hit will stop you.
As
No,
well,
I think he needs to use that, but he needs
No.
to be using it on the correct dragon. Just like the sword that's draped across my back.
But It's hard to say. So I'm going to, if we get a meeting, the dagger and myself, I will pledge my allegiance to her. That's best I can do.
So you're willing to do what? Exactly.
Pledge my fealty to her.
To Yldry.
Yes.
Are you being honest though? Are you really gonna do that, or you have the Black Fang after you?
I'll cross that bridge when it comes to it.
It looks like that's going to be a bridge that we're all going to have to cross once you get to it.
Is that the sacrifice she's looking for, though?
I don't know.
You talk about the Sadiq saying it could be a test. What if it is not a test? What if she wants one of us to sacrifice and we give her not what she is asking for? Then she refuses to help.
How about we
I think we have to
sacrifice?
think like Yldry, you think.
How about we sacrifice Namaras then?
We've already she's already dead.
That's my point.
Sacrifice does not always mean to die. I think the confusion is a sacrifice. She will ask which one will be sacrificed, or sacrificing. When we pick, she will tell us what we have to do in that scenario.
I will put myself forward for that.
Oh my God, we are all putting ourselves forward for this.
Well, look,
I'm just thinking you guys have been
that's-
together for a
maybe
lot
that
longer.
is the answer. Maybe that's the answer. We need to all sacrifice.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, make her make the choice.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Talk to
It's not one of us, it's all of us together.
talk to G1 and say we're ready to.
G1.
Yes. Would you like
Oh.
me? Would you like me to do the speaking again?
Yeah,
Go
you're
up and
the
go,
one
"What's
that
up, G?"
normally gets the better.
Response.
Yeah.
I promise
I'm
not to be.
I'm not a
I promise
talker.
not to be so scared and fumbly this time. I will do a little better.
Yeah, I'm not a talker. As you've probably noticed, my persuasive skills suck. I'm more of an intimidator.
Mine are normally very good. I don't know what happened there. I was a little nervous.
Yeah, probably.
Are we all ready then, team?
Yep.
Excuse me, Mr. Giant Guard Number 1. Tommy Frostbite. Tommy Frostbite, can we please talk to her again?
You're doing
And
good.
emotions to you, towards you again, Fiona, is please step forward
Yes.
once again.
Step forward and turn around.
Turn, and he makes the same motions, says the same words. Fiona's eyes flicker open again, roll back white, and Yldry's voice once again emanates from Fiona's body.
So then you've made a decision, I'm sure?
Hit only speaks in Draconic now, so the others cannot hear.
Okay.
The
Okay.
others, anyone who doesn't understand. He says, "It seems we are at an impasse. All of us are willing to sacrifice ourselves for this cause. We all say we shall sacrifice, so unfortunately you will have to make the choice."
That is a very interesting decision. It's good to see what the short-lived lives value as important.
We value the
Priority.
importance of all life.
I've already made the decision before I asked the question. So with that, I choose to go with you. And I'm
Excellent.
going to raise my hands up in the air, and the clouds and ice form, and I turn into my true form.
And before your very eyes, the two frost giants that were standing at the entrance of this cavern shimmer and disappear, as if they were never there. Yayla's eyes remain milky white. Her hair shrinks away. Her face elongates. Her shape grows. and within seconds, standing before you, is an ancient white drake. Her skin, not just the white scale that you would expect, but has a very silvery, pearlescent look to it, not unlike Fiela's armor that she has been wearing all this time. Not unlike the book that you possess yet.
It now realizes exactly what is going on.
I look down at Ali and say, "Do not forget your life boon you made to me, little one."
And she dwarfs you guys. She is huge. She stands
We-
20 to 30 feet at full height, wingspread of nearly 80 to 100 feet. She is massive. As she stretches her wings, not to take flight, but just almost to show you her full size. Shadow falls over you as her wings hide the mid-morning sun, and then she brings her wings back into herself.
With that, I take out the dagger, hold it out in front of me, put it on the ground, and kneel.
You know that's not necessary, Alexandros.
It's the right thing to do.
I do believe you had questions about your parents.
I do, yes.
Would you like to come inside to ask them?
Is it warm in there?
Probably a little bit.
Okay then.
And with that, Yldry turns. The question wasn't just directed at Alexandros, it was directed at all of you.
All right.
And she turns and walks into the cabin, leading you into her lair. Do you all follow?
Yes.
So as you enter this initial cabin, it's like a large tunnel. It goes on for probably 150, 200 feet. It's quite a long cabin. It twists and turns before leading into a much larger chamber. The ceilings between 150 to 200 feet in places, varying heights. You can see as you sort of walk in and sort of in awe, you look up and you can see other caves or tunnels sort of dotted around the inside of this cabin. You can only assume lead to different parts of the lair or even different exits, which is probably why no one could ever find this place. Multiple exits, magically hidden. You get and obviously now you get the impression, especially you, Het, that well, you all do now, knowing that your companion Fiela, who you've been traveling with for all this time, has probably been testing you guys at this very moment. Yldry, would you please explain and describe the inside of your lair for the group?
As they enter in, it's going to be a massive wide cavern, ceilings 100 feet tall, smooth walls from dragon bodies scraping the sides over the years, and a hallway with 10 columns on each side of ice. And as we go down the hallway, I explain to them that this was the chamber I've made to preserve the bones of every council member, until I realize after 100 years that this chamber is much like my heart, and if I fill it with vengeance and revenge, that's all I'll have left. So I left it empty, except for the armor of my friends, and you'll see Begalia's armor in there, and 2 columns with Changeling Rogue's armor in it, and then there's 1 column with a crimson beautiful dragon egg that has been broken, that I look at sadly as we pass by. And then as we go in, it widens out, and there are stone floors in some places, but in the middle in ice is an ancient Viking ship with a dead king and all his treasures laying in it, and columns with coins spiraling up inside them, and gemstones like mosaic tiles columning up. And because the ice and the snow is making a blue hue on the ceiling, being not altogether white, I've made mist clouds forming and floating around, so it looks like an actual sky. And it actually feels warm and airy in here with the colors, even though it's probably freezing. So it's deceptive.
So it is quite cold. It's definitely warmer inside than it is outside away from the wind. The wind chill factor is not evident here, but it is definitely cold. You still can see your breath as you breathe in and out. Het, you're quite comfortable, obviously. Yldry is quite comfortable. But the rest of you, it's not uncomfortably cold, but it is definitely still cold. But as Yldry has described, this place is beautiful. Years and years of constructing, hoarding of treasure as dragons tend to do. Alessandros, as you pass by the column with the rogue's armor, the darkened leather armor, you hear the voices of your parents in your mind, just whispering, not words, but it's a positive thing, and you know, even without asking, that armor is tied to you somewhat. It's you can feel it walking past it. You get that sense that's definitely tied to you. The egg, as you guys walk past the egg, I mean, you notice that the look that she gives is one of despair and sadness. It's not, she doesn't linger on it too long, but it's definitely quite obvious that that particular egg means something to her. But yeah, she then turns and faces you again. Back to you guys. Any questions you have? Yldry can continue with what she wishes to say. And chat, map reference, you guys can now see Michelle's rendition of her own character, hand painted, of Yldry the White, or the champion of men as she has been come to know.
Het steps forward. Great Yldry, might I ask a question?
Yes, Het, you don't have to call me Great Yldry.
Oh, can I just call you Fiala then?
You can call me whatever you like.
It's a little confusing. Have you been traveling with us all this time as Fiala?
Yes. I've had to hide. But I have to do what I have to do to survive that.
That's fair. Is the Elven you've been teaching me real?
I say in Elven, yes it is.
I understand that.
Yes, you do. Anyone who speaks Elven, yeah, and yeah, you can, all of you can tell that she is on the level. Everything she says is 100% genuine. There is no deception in her voice at all. She's feeling, you can see she's a little bit of guilt for deceiving you guys, as long as she has. But you get the impression that it was definitely for a purpose.
How big is she?
She's big. She's large.
Well,
very
I
large.
She's
think
really
we
so-
shouldn't go there.
So if I go
She's
over,
an ancient dragon. She
Okay.
belittles you guys. Like,
I'm gonna go over and give whatever I can grab a hug. Her leg, I guess.
yes, it
her
would
front
be.
leg.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, you wouldn't even get your arms around your leg. I mean,
My claw.
yeah, she is.
think,
As I say, as a scale reference, how tall is Het? Like 6 foot?
Yeah, just over 6 foot.
Yldry, if she stood up to her full height, head height, she would reach probably 40 feet into this cabin. She's massive. Like, dragons are huge by comparison to humans. So she does dwarf you guys, and when she speaks in this cabin, it echoes through the cabin. So you get that cacophony of reverb coming off the icy walls and ceiling as she speaks, because even though she's speaking softly, it's still a lot louder because of her size. Doesn't hurt, it's not deafening or anything like that, but it reverbs throughout these cabins.
So, Yldry, I guess you know what I'm going to ask for then.
Yes, but I'd rather hear you say it just to make sure.
Might I take, and he pulls forth the vial that he got from Sadiq, and he says, might I take a vial of your blood for the final encounter?
And this is for the rattlehead?
Well, yes, it is to put cast down forever, basically.
I take one of my little finger talons, prick on his tooth, and give him a drop.
And the drop fills the vial. I mean, a drop of dragon's blood is actually quite a lot. So it fills the vial to the brim.
It is grateful. He puts the cork in the vial and bows ceremoniously at her. And then he says, I have one more question, but I will ask it when the others are done with their questions for you.
All right, then.
My question would be, do you actually know who the Rattlehead really is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, she's heard of
About
him.
him?
The rattlehead is of the Fae, and he is not evil.
So he's trustworthy?
No more so than you or I, so I would trust him.
Okay, that's good for me.
Alejandrus.
Yeah, just looking in awe. So why didn't my parents complete their task?
Your parents were members of the Emerald Enclave. When I was at death's door, and Kosis had nearly killed me, they were essential in helping me get to safety and bringing me to Begilia, seeing that I was recovered, and they betrayed the Fang. It was the Black Fang that killed your parents, although I do feel responsible for their death.
I'm sure they knew what they were getting into.
They left me something to give to you.
Okay.
And I'm going to go over to a chest and pull out this kind of a back scabbard filled with the locked blades and place it in front of Alejandrus.
So what you see is just a scabbard that you put on your back. It's, the blades are crossed across the back, buckles up in the front, and as you before you put them on, as you remove the rapier, the moment you grab both, it's two rapiers, the moment you grab the hilts, a memory enters your mind. More like a vision than a memory, but it is both your parents, your mother and your father, each with one of these rapiers, standing in front of Yldry, kneeling, pledging their lives to protect her. And you know that only you can wield these weapons, and they were not designed for anyone outside of your bloodline. There is a connection with these weapons, so they are yours and yours alone.
Pick them up and stare at them for a while.
You will have to spend at least a long rest with them before they become attuned, but
Yeah,
they
I
are
get it.
yours. So you will have a decision to make on what of your currently attuned items you wish to swap out.
Yeah, that'll have to be 2, wouldn't it?
No, because it's it'll
Okay.
act as one attuned item, but it's a
I've
pair.
already
So you'll be
decided
able
that.
to So you'll be able to attack with your main hand and offhand with the same weapon. The only difference is the same as your daggers. You won't be able to add your proficiency to your offhand.
Yeah.
Same deal. So it just works exactly the same.
Inari, same question for you. Since you are here to kill me and Alexandris, are you still choosing to do that?
Oh, what now?
What? No.
Are you sure? You will
Very
join
sure.
us?
I'm joining you. If I was going to kill you, I would have done it already.
You could try.
Or I would have killed Ellie already.
I do have
Slight-
some other things.
Slightly moves away from.
I do have some other things we can use to kill Kosis if you like.
That would be good.
So I'm going to go to the chest and pull out a beautiful dragon scale armor in red and pass that to whoever's closest.
The armor is male armor, dragon scale.
Sadiq?
I would say, yeah. Yldry would probably know that Sadiq is probably the only one that could wear it anyway. So it's red dragon scale armor, which will give you a resistance to fire damage, I believe.
I will pass some Mizium armor. Do I need to spell that?
I can't remember how to spell it.
Mizzium. I will pass a beautiful staff of ice, which looks like a staff of frost.
It is Staff of Frost.
2 scrolls of greater restoration. I will pass a ring of protection. And I will pull out 5 greater healing potions and pass those around. I'm not done yet. A necklace of what looks like fireballs on it. Probably not for head. And I will pass Inari a blazing bowstring.
Ooh.
And I will hand the rogue of the party a sack of 5,000 gold. Because that's what we do.
So, the Mizium armor, which is Mizzium, is medium or heavy. This one is medium armor for the sake of this. It is reinforced with magically enhanced metal alloy called Mizium, and it's made in the foundries. While you're wearing armor, any critical hit against you becomes a normal hit. In addition, when you are subjected to a magical effect that allows you to make a strength or constitution saving throw, you only take half the damage instead of we would only take half damage. You instead take no damage if you succeed on the throw. All these items are in D&D Beyond, so you should be able to find them in there somewhere. Staff of Frost, Ring of Protection, and Necklace of Fireballs. So just make a note of those, distribute those as you guys see fit in due course to who you think would most benefit from those items. But
Yes,
indeed,
we can talk about it after this.
so
Yeah.
indeed, you guys have been gifted some pretty cool weaponry in your battle against evil forces of this realm.
What was the necklace?
Necklace of Fireballs.
Ooh.
I wrote it down.
Okay, I was writing it down too.
I can copy and paste the list into the chat later on anyway. So
I have it
Yes.
all.
okay, cool.
Guessing that I'm the only one that gets the blazing bowstring, so I'm going to swap that out straight away.
But yes, so Alessandra, and Ari actually, now that you've been outed as a potential assassin, Alessandra moves away from you instinctively. I dare say, looking around the room, even though these items have just been handed out, I dare say you're probably getting a few looks from Het, Sadiq, and Alessandra at this point as to what Yldry means, why you were here to kill her and Alessandra. Do you explain further, or do you say nothing?
I look at them all and say, yes, I was told to kill Yldry, and because I knew that Alessandra was meant to kill her, I am a member of the Fang. And my contract.
Your contract was to.
My contract was to kill
Yldry and
Yldry
to kill
and
Alessandra if she failed
Ali.
to do so.
because she has obviously failed to do so.
You were Ali's backup?
Kind of, yes.
Ish.
Essentially, she was Alessandra's shadow slash. Almost a Fang had almost sent you as an insurance policy because they did not trust Alessandra. The Fang knew about her parents. This is one thing that Yldry I forgot to probably tell Yldry to let Alessandra know, but Yldry would impart that your parents were killed by the Fang for their failure to carry out their contract, which was to assassinate Yldry the White. Which was why you were contracted with it in the first place, because of your bloodline. But the Fang did not trust that you would complete your task, therefore they sent a infiltrator, a double agent, someone who has spent a lifetime in undercover, to shadow you, join your group, and ensure that you completed your task. But, however, obviously now faced with a potential death at the hands of a large white drake, has been given an ultimatum to join you or die. She's obviously chosen to join you guys and turn her back on the Fang. Or has she? Your decision to make.
I've got a feeling another group's just got on the list of things we have to deal with.
You think?
I think this Fang needs to be disappeared.
We could keep recruiting them. Dragon joke.
Yeah, we could do that too, but at the same time, I've got the feeling that the Fang don't really have the world's best interest at heart.
The Fang are also the people that broke that egg in the hallway. So, I'm not particularly fond of them. Obviously.
Which is why at this point, even though you've given Inari the ultimatum and she seems to have accepted, you will be very wary of her. Even though she has been travelling with you guys, she has proven herself a very capable person in combat and has helped you guys fell some pretty formidable foes, but also has had an underlying objective all this time. So I dare say, especially for you, Yldry, there is definitely going to be a mistrust there for some time still.
I do have a section for humanoid creatures that need to keep warm if you chose to stay the night.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. We could
Sounds
do
like
that.
a good idea.
So
The ice giants make a
the ice giants are gone. They were a mirage. They were an image portrayed with magical wards that were at this lair. But there is a small cave towards the rear of the main chamber which has been set out for just this purpose, almost in anticipation of you guys coming and staying. There's a fire going in there. There are what look to be almost like beds with furs, and as you sort of look at it from the outside, it's very inviting and very, very warm. At this point, Yldry returns to her humanoid form, and you can see a visible exhaustion on Fiela's face as she returns to the form you guys have been traveling with and the form you know well, but she is very physically exhausted with keeping obviously everything going. The wards have been something else, but to return to her natural form has taken a toll for some reason.
So,
Inari,
Mm-hmm.
what, seeing you have that new fancy bow, what are you doing with the old bow?
It's not a bow. It's not a bow. It was just a bowstring.
Oh, it comes up as a bow on my
Yeah, the blazing bowstring is just a string that you would put on your bow.
Oh, well, don't worry about it then.
I was gonna give it back. I was gonna give you my longbow. Good thing I didn't.
No, so the blazing bowstring, even though it comes up as a bow, but it would be technically attached to your current bow.
Oh, yeah. As a bowstring that is enchanted.
Yeah,
Got
so
ya.
it's just the bowstring. But it
You can
doesn't-
have my bowstring for the other one.
which is just a regular bowstring.
That's going to be a nasty weapon then.
Mm-hmm.
Really nasty.
so do you think we can take on Cass now?
I say we can.
Yes.
Well, we can give it a jolly good try.
Yeah. I think we can give it a good go.
and then we can deal with the Fang.
Or deal with the Fang and then... But isn't the Fang everywhere?
Inari would have
Thanks.
some information on that.
The Fang
Well-
will take a little bit. I think we need to get rid of the world-ending type stuff first, and then move on to the next part.
Het, is there anything you wish to say any further of the situation? What has Het been doing this whole time?
This whole time, after hearing about Inari and trying to take in everything about Fiela / Yldry / weird giant cave place, Het has sort of sat back on maybe a rock or a ice formation, and he is just thinking. He wants to talk to Fiela, but he wants to be alone when they talk.
Okay. So at this point, is there anything else you guys want to discuss as a group before potentially Yldry / Fiela and Het speak more privately?
So, is there any way we can throw off the Black Fang to make them think the contract's been fulfilled?
you would both know, even you would know, Alessandros, that is not possible.
Unfortunately,
All
no.
contracts are magically binding, and it would take Yldry's heart to stop for the contract to be fulfilled, and it would have to. It literally, it's a magical binding thing. So you would literally have to kill her in order for it to be complete.
Can you revive yourself? Can you stop your heart, revive yourself? Just asking.
That would be.
I
a
would
big
say
fat
we'd
no.
probably know that she probably couldn't. Can you stop your heart and revive yourself?
Who are you asking?
Ali,
No,
because I've got a contract too, remember?
Yeah, if I fail the main objective, yep, right?
True.
But doesn't matter. Moving on.
Right, so you guys
Make
move
camp.
into. Sadiq, you wanted to say something?
We're gonna make camp and rest.
Can I make coffee?
She's been trying to kill people with the coffee this whole time.
So you guys move into the
Poison,
little
now it-
antechamber.
Now it makes sense. Why?
You move into this little antechamber that has been prepared for you, and it is quite warm. You do feel a lot more comfortable in here. Het, do you ask Fiala to remain outside so you guys can talk?
Yes, I motion to her and just say, hey, when you get a chance, I would want to have a chat.
Right?
Outside in the freezing cold where the others won't go.
All right.
So you leave the cave, leave the lair altogether, or do you just remain out in the main chamber?
Just in the main chamber,
Okay.
close to the exit.
And it is definitely a lot colder out there. I mean, the others will find it a lot more comfortable in the antechamber for sure.
Fiala / Yldry / this is as bad as Alessandros, you know.
Just call me Fiala or Yldry. One or the other. Doesn't matter.
That's a lot of Fiala or Yldry, one or do. It doesn't matter. It's a lot longer than just one of those names.
What do you want to call me?
A lot of things right now.
Probably.
Anyhow, I have questions. I thought I just had one, but now I have a few.
Hmm.
You started to say about your egg. The Black Fang destroyed it, yes?
Yes.
That was a child,
Yes.
so the egg was fertile.
Yes.
Did they take the child, or is the child dead?
Did.
Okay, I am sorry for that.
Hmm.
Second, with all our doings, are you able to have eggs again?
I don't know. Never been to a medical professional about it.
I am pretty good medical professional. Would you like me to check?
Really?
Well, I have a lot of dealings as a cleric. We learned a lot about
How
medicines and yes, I mean, I'll have to scratch you under the belly a bit.
What?
And, I mean, only if you're comfortable with it.
How do you feel about this whole thing?
Well, I mean, if you're having my children and they're going to live a lot longer than I am, I don't know. It's a little awkward, but is that not what you were talking about?
If that's what you've been thinking about this whole time.
No,
Haven't been-
no, definitely not.
Okay.
Somewhat, yes, a little.
You have eggs on the brain head.
No, what I was going to ask you originally was, in your current form, are you traveling with us or are you staying here?
I am intending to go with you. I'm part of the team.
Okay. Why do you not appear as your dragon form at all times?
because most of the world is trying to kill me in that form.
That is what I assumed. I just wanted to check.
Yeah. Gets a bit tricky.
Is Inari our next target?
Oh, I'm not an assassin that picks targets just in a row. I'm
That is the
actually
correct answer.
a nice person. Okay.
I just wanted to see. You knew Inari was an assassin all this time. I take it.
No, but when I just felt there's something off about her. And, dragon sense is a little bit more keen than
Yes.
other senses.
Do you believe her? I mean, she has said she's going to fight for you, but if a giant dragon, i.e. you, appeared in front of me and said you were going to carve me up if I didn't do what you said, I am pretty sure I would say yes as well, and plot behind your back. Is this not a worry of yours?
Well, she spent all night cuddling with Allie and didn't stab her, and she's spent the nights with us and didn't kill us.
If I was going to kill an entire party, I would want to get close to everyone. Be friendly, make like I was funny, less intelligent, make jokes all the time, and then I would take them out, singularly, in the night.
Head, are you trying to kill us?
You are Yldry the Dragon, would you not know this already?
Are you mad? You sound mad.
It is not mad. It wishes someone of your power could have stopped his family from dying much earlier.
Ouch. Yes, but I couldn't see that the Maris was going to do that. I was with you.
Understand. That is fair. Hit and all of us received a vision of you talking to Kosis. Did you receive the same vision?
Yes,
Was that recent or past?
past. Recent past.
Before the lions or after? During.
During.
Okay then. You say you will not give Kosis the killing blow?
No.
That is
Ko-
fair.
Kosis isn't really in there anymore. Kind of. Not the same. He's gone.
Good. I will let you know right now.
DM, yes.
Does he actually, is he proficient with Elven now, or is it still ways away?
I would say with the amount of time you've been spending with Fiala, I would say that you've grown reasonably proficient in Elven. Your conversation with Inari, I would say Hit was probably smart enough to and funny enough to not pronounce anything correctly just because. So yeah, I would say you're definitely proficient at this stage in Elvish.
Okay. In Elvish, Hit, and I don't know the Elvish, I'm just going to say it in common, but in Elvish, Hit says, you have been nice to Hit. Hit appreciates everything you have done. Hit only wants to help the world, which means he's going to have to put, or at least aid the killing of Kosis and Cass with his team. Unfortunately, Hit feels like his only close companion is Sadiq now. Hit still understands what Yldry/Fiala is about, but doesn't feel like he can be any closer with her. At this point in time, at least, at this juncture.
Understand.
And Hit then steps out the doorway and says, I will be alone for some time. And he walks beyond the cave.
And with that, Hit stands, looks at you, Fiala, and turns without saying anything more and walks back up the 150 foot corridor cave to the outside of the lair. How long do you spend out there before returning?
It spends the entire night outside.
Okay.
It also will take his skull, and he will use the kit that he has in his pack for his various carvings and whatnot. He will pull apart some of his leather work, the spare clothes. He has 2 sets of spare clothes, anything leather, and he will make a strap for it that runs through the jaw and around, so it can connect to his forearm.
Okay.
And he will spend the time doing that, reading the No Prayer for the Dying scripture from Harris through the Steel Lady's book.
No problem. Roll a, let's say, dexterity check for the strappings and things like that to see. Are you proficient with leatherworking tools?
Not with leatherworking tools, but with mason's tools and general tinkerer's stuff.
Just make a standard dexterity check.
That is a 10.
10. It's crude, but serviceable. It's not the finest work, but it will definitely serve its purpose. So what you're trying to achieve is achieved. It could definitely look better, but it will definitely work the way you want it to. Fiala, do you stay in the main chamber for a time, or do you retire back to the antechamber with the rest of the group after your conversation?
How much time has passed since they went to the...
Probably, I'd say the conversation probably took place over about a sort of 45 minutes to an hour.
I'm gonna go see Allie.
So the rest of the group's in the antechamber, so Alessandros, Inari and Sadiq are all together in the little warm chamber that was created for them. You return back to there, and she returns without Het.
I'm gonna just go up to Allie and whisper in her ear, I'm taking the boon off of you. And I give her a hug and I leave to sit in my chamber of pillars by my bag.
Okay. So
That's it.
the three of you are now left in the chamber by yourself, Sadiq, Inari and Alessandros. Is there anything you guys wish to discuss for the remainder of this day? Het is gone. You're not sure where. He hasn't returned. Fiala's come in, said something privately to Alessandros, and then turned and left the chamber as well. And you sort of, if you peer out, you can see her sitting over by the icy column that houses the broken egg. Nothing?
I'm sitting there, just contemplating. I do have a feeling I want to go and look at my parents' armor. Just to look at it. Actually, that's what I'll do. Go look at my parents' armor.
Okay, so you head back out there quietly and just stand at the column that houses the 2 sets of roguish armor. It's battle worn. You can see the scarring of blade and arrow on the armor. There looks to be possibly bloodstains on the armor as well, so obviously they were wearing it at the time of their death. You stand there looking at this armor, being in close proximity with it, with the rapiers, I would assume, are now strapped to your back as well.
Yeah.
Again, just that sense of their loyalty to Yldry is very clear. That after intending on killing her, coming here and finding her wounded, and spending time with her, learning of the betrayal from the council, learning of who she was as an entity, not just a dragon, but having a personality and who she is, and you sort of putting that together with what you know of Fiala and her character as well. I mean, you've spent all this time with this person, and you've gotten to know her reasonably well. She's a nice person. She's a genuine person. She has helped you guys. She's kept you guys alive, especially you. She saved your ass on a number of occasions. So you now, with all this going on, all the emotions that are sort of running through your mind, even though she's now released you of your bond with her, your life debt, I feel that you would probably still feel that. You still feel like that you owe her.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
that you would lay down your life for her. So your thoughts then turn to Inari briefly, and the Fang. And with that, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
14.
You take. Have you still got daggers in your bags?
Yeah.
Do you have the dagger that was coated
Yeah.
in blood still? You take that dagger.
How coated in blood? Which one's that one?
The one that was thrown to you by the figure. Did you keep that? I'm assuming you kept it.
Yeah.
You take that dagger out. You look at it. You look at the blood. Do you remember where your Fang seal was imprinted?
Right arm top.
You take a moment. You remove your armor. It's cold. It's bitterly cold in here, but it doesn't seem to faze you at this point. You look to the seal of the Fang, the black wolf's head, and you raise the dagger and you carve into your own arm. The pain is intense and blinding, but you remove an entire section of flesh. A piece of flesh falls to the cavern floor with a sickening thud as it hits the floor, blood streaming down your arm. But the Fang seal now lies on the floor of this cabin.
With that, I go back into the antechamber, look at Inari, aim the knife that I used to cut it off.
Yep.
Not directly at her, and pivot. I said, "You do the same."
So, Inari, as Alessandros returns to the antechamber, armor in one hand, that hand in her left hand, and you can visibly see the wound that she has sustained on her left arm, and comes in with dagger in the right hand, throws it overhand right at your feet, and it hits the icy chamber and stabs into the ice at your feet. And you can only assume that she has just removed her Fang seal. What is your reaction?
I look at Ellie, and I'm like, mine's not that easy to get rid of.
Why not?
Have you seen it anywhere on me?
She was
Can we-
stuck, is that?
Yeah, true. No, I can't.
And yeah, she was naked in the tomb, and you don't recall seeing any mark.
But on that note,
You're in the room too, so you see this as well.
yeah, I'm gonna pull out my dagger, which is gonna burst into flame, and
Yep.
I'm gonna sear Ellie's arm.
So you're going to cauterize the wound for her?
Cauterize the room, and then do a medicine check to stem the flow of
Okay.
blood.
So, Alessandros, you have already taken 2 points of slashing damage, I forgot to tell you, from the self-inflicted wound. You take another 2 points of fire damage as Sadiq, just without saying a word, walks up, ignites his dagger, and just jabs it onto your open wound sealing the wound. You don't need to make a medicine check. The cauterization will definitely stem the flow of blood and seal the wound, so you will take no further damage. So Inari, what is your further reaction to what has just been said to you? Are you going to say anything else, or is that it? That's just not.
That's all I'm going to say about that one. But I look out to the hallway and I actually want to go and give my friend a hug.
So where exactly is your one?
I've walked off by this point.
Do you stop her? I think she got up and she's going to walk out of the antechamber.
No, I'm just going to yell out, just asking.
So,
Unfortunately.
with that, you leave the antechamber, and just before we do anything else before we end tonight's show, back to Het outside. Het, you are sitting outside. The snow's still falling, but the wind has died right down, and you get the impression after leaving the chamber that the storm was probably magically rolled in as well, because everything seems relatively calm now after the previous night. Was there anything else you wanted to achieve before we finish tonight's show?
Yes, Het finishes reading his scriptures from the Steel Lady and he puts the book back in his bag. And he pulls forth his lute, looks at the symbol of the rattlehead still embedded into it, and he says out loud to no one in particular, "Rattlehead, I have a question. I wish to know if your trap for Cass would work on other beings."
And after a short time, you hear faintly the rattling of the chain in your mind's eye. And then the air around you grows deathly cold, even makes you shiver. You don't get any audible sense, but you get that impression that with the very cold chill that now surrounds you, that the answer is no.
Het understands. Het then heads back into the antechamber and goes to sleep in the center of the main chamber, not with the others.
Okay. So, Yldry and Inari. Yldry, you're sitting out next to where your egg
I've
resides. Yes.
followed Yldry to the archway so I can see both of them.
Okay. They're a fair distance off. You can see them. You probably won't be able to hear what they say, but you can definitely see them.
That's not the idea.
So you want to get close enough to hear them? You're gonna have to roll a stealth check.
All right.
If you want to get close enough to hear what they're saying.
No. I'm just so I can see them.
Yeah, you can see them from the archway, but you obviously
That's where I'm standing.
Yeah.
I'm
So you
just
can
watching.
see them, but you just won't be able to hear them.
No, that's fine.
So you watch Inari as she walks over to Fiala. And what are you doing, Inari, as you walk over? Fiala, you're probably in quiet contemplation, probably don't notice her to begin with.
I just go and stand next to her and grab her hand and say, "Look, I'm really sorry for your loss."
Thank you. Seems I have a lifetime of losses. But it's alright. Hopefully you'll stick around and make the right choices with us.
That's the plan.
Do you have information on where we could find the Black Fang?
I do. Do I?
You do.
I do.
You know that in order to not so much destroy them, but to throw them into complete disarray, you need to obviously take down their leadership. And with the leader of the Boulogne chapter gone. That fell to a man by the name of Garrick, and he isn't going to be easy to find, but you're pretty sure that you have enough contacts that you should be able to find out where he's located in due course.
Yep.
But you also know that because Alessandros has denied her contract and now removed her seal, and you have also denied your contract, that chances are that Garrick is probably going to seek you out.
I'm more than ready for that to happen.
You know, that's going to be kind of hard on the team now that everyone knows.
That everyone knows.
That you were with the Black Fang, as you said to us.
That's okay. Like I said to everybody, if I was going to do something, I've had plenty of opportunity.
Telling the truth hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah, sometimes. That's a good thing.
I guess. And with that, I just stay quiet.
And with that, we will fade to black, as they say, and that will be tonight's session, ladies and gentlemen.
Drop the mic.
With that, guys, level 11 will be your reward for tonight. No XP, but you will all proceed to level 11. Everyone tonight, DM's inspiration for everybody. You guys did an amazing job. The roleplay was awesome. Everyone enjoyed it. Chat, hope you enjoyed the twist in the plot. Before we do go, I know Het probably has to take off very quickly, but before we go, just briefly,
No rush.
guys, just want to have a quick discussion. How many of the players had figured it out?
I already knew.
I mean, Sadiq already knew.
I did.
I knew I'd.
Obviously, Michelle already knew. Adam knew because we've been working on this for a while. But
assholes.
So Tracy didn't know.
I didn't know.
So you didn't figure it out either? Awesome.
Not
That was
till partway through tonight's game, I was sort of guessing it. I was thinking, hang on a minute, this is real weird. But other than that, nah.
unfortunately, Nutty found out a while ago and figured it out with things that I'd been talking to Michelle and Sadiq about. So that was.
No, I figured it out on my own. That had nothing to do with. I didn't listen to anything.
Yeah, but like I said, you figured it out was a while ago. But so chat, how many of you guys figured out the plot, or were you just as surprised as Trashman and Baz? Be interesting to find out.
I didn't know Inari was Black Fang at all, and I had no idea that she had it. It was the last episode before that she mentioned about having a mum that was a dragon, and I was like, oh, this is weird. Two people with a dragon as one parent and another. I didn't really click to it. I just sort of thought, wondered if Yldry was your mum.
Yeah, well, I had thought about that as well at one point, but I said, Michelle come to me, would have been almost, it was right at the very start of the campaign. It says, hey, what about this? What do you think that'd be cool? And I thought about it, and I thought, fuck yeah, that would be awesome to have someone that is integral to the part of the story being someone completely different. I mean, the whole Namaris thing was a twist in that I had from the very beginning, was part of the story. But to have that happen as well, and obviously Inari being a member of the Fang was something I'd already written into her character when I introduced the character. So
I like that as soon as I found out that Ali was with the Black Fang, I made him swear a life boon to protect me. That he never figured.
That was a good idea.
It was awesome. And I say, the thing is with Inari was supposed to be an NPC. I did not anticipate the murdering of Neymaris at that point.
Well,
So
that's when I found out that. Yldry
yes,
was,
that's when Sadiq, the character, found out about. Most of you guys in that episode probably wouldn't have realised what had transpired at that point, because it was kept the way it was said was still keeping the secret. But and Yldry revealed herself to Sadiq at the time of Neymaris' death. So that whole thing now makes a little bit more sense when you if you go back and watch that episode. It will make a little bit more sense to what happened. So tonight, guys, amazing show. Role play was awesome. Michelle, well done with Yldry. Het, again, always awesome. Alessandra, trashy, dude. Your whole character tonight was brilliant. I absolutely well done, dude. You've done exceptionally well throughout this campaign, and I think you've come out of your shell a little bit with your character, which is really cool.
A little bit.
Your character's evolved somewhat from the start, so I think everyone's doing exceptionally well. As I say, Michelle, first campaign playing, and now first time DM as well. So she's got the D&D bug. Well and truly.
Yeah, she definitely does. Like D&D 3 times a week now.
Yes. Well, obviously we've got the Curse of Strahd Session 1 or Episode 1 coming up on Wednesday night, guys. So make sure you are back with us on Wednesday night for that. That will be a lot of fun. Also, official module. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to trying to scare the crap out of these guys with all manner of creatures and wonderful things. But yeah, so that is our show for this evening. Unless anyone else has anything to say about tonight's show, we will end it there. And we will return on Wednesday evening for the Curse of Strahd. As always, YouTube guys, this VOD episode will be up on YouTube by the latest Tuesday. Subscribe to YouTube, hang out over there, hit the bell so you get notifications when we upload a new video. It goes up every Tuesday, and then again on Thursday, Friday when we upload the Curse of Strahd stuff. Check out social media, twitter.com/Evldoa. Definitely follow me there. I announce pretty much everything there. Join the Discord if you want to come and hang out with us in the Discord on occasion. Also too, make sure you guys check out the Lost Chapters. Lost Chapters is doing another module on Thursday nights, 8 o'clock Australian time, I believe, which is Cameron, aka Adoc, or Roasted Chickens, who's in our chat, is DMing that. So definitely go check those guys out and support them as well, because they're cool dudes. Who are we going to raid this evening? Dreaded GM is on. They don't need our help. They're at like 50 plus viewers.
Tainted Filth is on. They've got 18 viewers.
Tainted Filth. Those are UK. That's a UK dude, isn't it?
Yep. Friendly Here's playing Dungeons and Dragons. I've got 7.
Oh, those guys are Kiwis, aren't they? Yes, they are. Okay, I think we'll raid them tonight, guys. I don't know what they're doing tonight. Null the Dragon God, episode 22. Whatever Null the Dragon God is. I think it might be a homebrew one. So we're going to raid them. As I said, make sure you guys return on Wednesday evening, same time, 7:30 PM New Zealand Standard Time, for the Curse of Strahd. Until then, everyone enjoy themselves. Have a great night. And here was medical advice. Oh, Drax,
That was
awesome.
funny.
Nice.
Let's do that, damn it.
The clipping, that's brilliant. I will post that. Post that into the Discord as well, Drax. And I'll chuck it up on Twitter later this
What
week.
do I like? Roll for egg.
Yeah,
Well, I
right.
was hoping the DM was going to say roll medicine. And
I was thinking about it, but I
Roll
thought
for egg.
she didn't really accept the offer, so I couldn't really make you roll for
No,
anything.
I just have to put my arm in.
if she'd accepted the offer, I would have made you roll, but
I'm proficient in medicine.
And then just break up with me?
he hasn't
break
broken
up,
up with you
exactly.
per se. You're on a break, okay? You're on a break.
You're
Oh, okay, children, like teenagers. Bloody hell.
Does she really like me?
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Awesome fun tonight. We'll see you on Wednesday for Curse of Strahd.